Hello, is it working? Hopefully. Are we live? I think we're live. So this is a different type of stream for me. So, hello Fox, hello Maiko. We got a couple of people here already. I decided to do this stream about Star Wars, something that I absolutely adore. Hang on, let me get just Discord up and running. I've already seen in chat. Yeah, it's easy. Episode 8 and 9 happened. Case closed. And there's some truth in that. And I want to get to that in a bit. I want to just go through those a little bit more in depth. But what is it? What is it we're looking for here? Oh, hang on a minute. My battery's about to die. Oh, for Christ's sake! One moment. I don't know why my battery's about to die, but it is. But let's give you a little bit of background. Firstly, I was born, I'm an old geezer. I was born in 1972. And my grandparents went on holiday to a little place in England called Minehead in the summer of 77. And they brought back a little present for me. There we go. And in that little present, I am absolutely terrible. And that little present was what it was for. It was the old Kenner Star Wars figures. They brought me back Darth Vader, Ben Kenobi, R2D2, and Luke. Okay, and I didn't have a clue what they were. To be honest with you, I'm 5 years old, and the movie hadn't been released, but the figures had come out. And my grandparents, being grandparents, thought it'd be good to get you a couple of these. Eventually, the film did come out, of course, and then I was taken to watch it, and I fell in love with it almost instantly. To be perfectly honest with you, and the thing that endeared me to Star Wars, even at a young age, was it was clear that it was about right and wrong. So what I thought with my kiddie eyes, and since then, I grew up. I watched The Empire Strikes Back and fell in love with that. Didn't fall in love quite as much with Return of the Jedi, must admit. Very okay. Let's talk about Phantom Menace. I was a bit and it didn't really endear to me, but we'll get into that. And then we then move on to we move on to episode 2, which it was interesting. And then we have episode 3. Oh my god! I get episode 3. I understand it, but oof. And then we move on to the latest ones where Disney take over. And for me, Star Wars has lost its appeal because of those 3 episodes. Okay, so The Force Awakens, followed by The Last Jedi, followed by The Rise of Skywalker, and it was The Force Awakens, to be honest with you, is an interesting movie, but The Rise of Skywalker and The Last Jedi were just killers. Okay, but this is the idea of the stream now, is to get the understanding from you. And you know what? I was actually going to do. I did a video earlier today on my top 5 war movies, and as you get older, you start seeing things and start sort of reading into things a bit more than you would when you were a kid. When you're a kid, you're blinded by the lightsabers and you're blinded by Darth Vader in all the shenanigans. And it wasn't until I was about 8 years old that I truly realised that the Millennium Falcon didn't exist. It was just a prop. But you're blinded by those things when you're a kid. And had the first 3 movies been a standalone, then it wouldn't have been so much of a problem, I don't think. But then they're not standalones. And we then have the prequels. We have the Attack of the Clones, and we have the what's I can't remember. And the Attack of the Clones takes it to a direction that was bizarre. To be honest with you, it just did. And then we have the Disney movies. And the Disney movies, for me, absolutely are soul destroying. They really are. But let's break it down. Let's go back. So Star Wars. When I first watched Star Wars, I really honestly believed it was about good versus evil, and good triumphing over evil. I mean, clearly the Empire are evil people. I mean, at one part they blow up a planet just for kicks. And, they've got all the resources, they've got all this sort of stuff, but the thing is, are they really that evil? And this is what you go back and look at. Because let's take the destruction of Alderaan. Okay, the destruction of Alderaan in the original Star Wars is clearly an evil act. Billions of people wiped out in one single movement. But here's the irony. Leia was given the option to actually say where the rebel base is. And remember Spock's words in The Wrath of Khan. The good of the one is not outweighed by the good of the few, by the good of the many. So Leia chose to lie about not where about where the rebel base was. She chose to do that. Now she didn't know. She didn't have a clue that they were going to destroy Alderaan, because if you watch her reaction when Moff Tarkin says just carry on, fire at will, she's shocked. So if she thinks that by saying that it's Dantooine, that the rebel base is on Dantooine, it's going to stop the destruction of Alderaan, but it doesn't. But here's the question. Let's say it did. Let's say Moff Tarkin goes, okay, we'll go to Alderaan. We'll not destroy Alderaan right now. We'll go to Dantooine and we'll destroy the rebels instead. Well, they're going to get to Dantooine, yeah? And there's no rebels there because she lied. So what the fuck are they going to do? They're going to turn around the Death Star and go back to Alderaan and blast it out the sky. Either way, Leia could have stopped the destruction of Alderaan. She really could, but she didn't. And that's an interesting point. So are the Empire truly that evil? Now, the other thing that we're told is that, the Empire controls the galaxy. And don't forget, this is Star Wars. So we don't know the background at this stage. So the Empire controls the galaxy. The rebels, they're rebels. So they are sort of the universe's version of terrorists, are they not? But then again, as Che Guevara and everybody says, one man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter. But is it, are the Empire truly that evil? Well, of course they are. Because in the movies, the Empire, nobody in the Empire smiles. Have you ever noticed that? Not a single member of the Empire smiles. They're all like, grumpy. And they don't smile at all. Where the rebels are always very happy and very over the moon and chuffed to bits and all that sort of stuff. The Imperial forces, for fuck's sake, they call them stormtroopers, which is a reference to the German soldiers in World War One. Funnily enough, who they had that moniker, Stormtrooper, and they're clearly modelled on Nazi uniforms, which tells us basically that they're the evil ones that they should lose. And the rebels are basically like, the Allied forces, the underdogs, so to speak. But this universe that we're portrayed, and as I said, I look back on this now as I'm older, it's a fucking weird universe, Take, for example, the relationship between Luke Skywalker and Ben Kenobi, okay? Now, we don't really know the timelines, and we'll get to Star Wars timelines when we get to The Empire Strikes Back, but we don't really know the timelines in Star Wars, okay? But let's be honest here. Luke could have only known Ben for let's say, no more than a week. No more than a week. I mean, he makes a passing reference to him over dinner, okay? He then meets him in the desert because he comes to save his backside. Ben then gives him some story about his dad, knowing his dad and fighting in the Clone Wars with him. They then hop on the Millennium Falcon, fly off to Alderaan at light speed, so they're going pretty quickly. Alderaan doesn't exist. They get onto the Death Star, and almost immediately Ben Kenobi fucks off and goes to sort out a tractor beam. And then we catch up again later when, he's fighting Darth Vader and he dies and Luke's all tearful and everything. And the Millennium Falcon escapes and Luke is being consoled by Leia. And he says, I can't believe he's gone, in a tearful manner. This is a guy who's known for, at best a week. At tops a day. Now, rewind, okay? So, if you rewind a little bit, Luke meets Ben. Okay, they go back to Ben's hut. They have a bit of a chinwag about Luke's dad. Luke finds a lightsaber. They see a hologram of Leia. They then disappear out again. Find the Jabbers who sold them the bloody droids. Discover that they've been killed, and then Luke pops back home to find Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru smouldering skeletons. You know. What the? And Luke doesn't even. It doesn't even. Pass. Now, these are his step family. I mean, this is his step mom and dad who's nurtured him from literally a baby. He's known them all his life. So let's take it that let's say that Luke's a 17-year-old. So for 17 years, these people have been nice to him, looked after him, given him a life, given him a home and a roof over their head. He doesn't give them a second thought. But Ben Kenobi, who is known for like a couple of days, dies at the hands of Darth Vader. He's like, oh, I can't believe he's gone. It's so destroyed. I mean, what the fuck? I mean, clearly, when I then look back on it and look at all 9 movies, there's some Sigmund Freud, I hate my family shit going down here, I'm telling you. Because it just is that way. And guys, tell me what you think of that. Have you ever thought of that? Have you ever looked at it in that way? Because it sort of makes you wonder what the bloody hell is going on in this universe. And then we get into The Empire Strikes Back, which is my favourite of all of the Star Wars movies. And, okay, so in the first film, Luke doesn't give a damn, well, he doesn't give a flying fuck that his family's been killed, realistically. And then he finds out that Darth Vader, the man who's trying to kill him, okay, is his dad. Unbelievable. And then his dad lops his hand off. I mean, what the hell? I mean, there's a serious I don't like families going on scenario here. Prior to that, though, and this is the bit that also gets me. I mean, okay, it's all about, they are trying to, the rebels are on the back foot this time in The Empire Strikes Back, etc., etc. Now, everybody manages to escape from Hoth, except the Millennium Falcon. Okay. Now, either A, there weren't a lot of Imperial Star Destroyers hanging around, clearly, because there's a lot of ships escaping. I mean, even Luke manages to get away from them in his little X-Wing, but there's a lot of Rebel troops getting away from Hoth. Okay, but it's only the Millennium Falcon that the Imperials are chasing. So the Millennium Falcon, okay, its hyperdrive is buggered, but that doesn't matter. I mean, when as soon as they've got to get out the atmosphere anyway before they go into hyperdrive, so all these rebel ships are going to be there. But anyway, not to worry. So they chase down the Millennium Falcon. They don't give a shit about the rest of the rebels. They're just focused on the Millennium Falcon. The Millennium Falcon manages to hide. Okay, now I'm pretty sure that space worms or space slugs don't have gravity, and they're not pressurized the same way as everything else. So wearing a little mask in the belly of a space worm isn't gonna really save you from the vacuum of space. But not to worry, the film says it does, so it does. They then escape from the space slug and then hide on the side of a Star Destroyer. This is the bit that really blows my mind. We then get introduced to Boba Fett. Fucking brilliant character, Boba Fett. Now, Boba Fett is meant to be this badass bounty hunter. And what he does, he hides in the trash. Now, how does that work? I mean, is it normal for bounty hunters to hide in the trash and just wait in the vain hope that they were stuck to the side of the ship? Does radar not work in this empire? I mean, do they not have radar? They clearly don't have radar because it's impossible for them to find the Millennium Falcon. And, Boba Fett then drops off in the trash and follows the Millennium Falcon. Now, how the fuck did they manage to get to Bespin before the Millennium Falcon? Because Boba Fett and Darth Vader are already at Bespin by the time they turn up, along with a shed load of Imperials. Han didn't see these big Imperial Star Destroyers on his, obviously, on his radar, which he clearly doesn't have, or B, with his actual eyes. He didn't see that. He didn't see these. I mean, where were the Imperials? What did they do? Drop everybody off and then just, go somewhere else? And we're seeing that there's not much in the Andoan system when they're going through it, apart from Bespin. So where the fuck were all these Star Destroyers that the Imperials had? They were somewhere, were they not? They must have been. So we have that. Then we have Boba Fett's like really crap at his job. You know, he doesn't capture anybody. He just basically tells Darth Vader and everybody where he is. So, you know, they turn up in Bespin and Darth Vader captures them. Now, this is the other interesting point. So, in Star Wars, Leia, okay, had been captured by the Imperials and was scheduled for execution, okay, being tortured by Darth Vader. But Darth Vader doesn't give a shit about this. He doesn't care. He lets her go, basically. And then, so it doesn't matter. So what is this tyranny of the Imperials that we're talking about? Anyway, they rule with tyranny throughout the galaxy. Yet this wanted criminal who's a terrorist who was scheduled for execution in the first film is just, yeah, we don't need her anymore. Let her go. It doesn't matter. It's no big deal. Yet we see Darth Vader just randomly killing his own men for lesser evils. I mean, how bad is this empire? In real terms, how bad are they? Are they really that bad? I don't know. You tell me, because I don't understand it. And then we find out, it's all about Luke Skywalker. They don't give a shit about Leia. They didn't really care about Han. I mean, he's going to go off to Jabba the Hutt, so that's all done. But to let Leia go when she was scheduled to be executed doesn't sound right to me, guys. I mean, so anyway, let's stop there because I want to read through the chat. So, yeah, no, I'll be honest with you, Maker, but I haven't read any of the expanded universe and I haven't done any of that sort of stuff. The reason being is because, oh my God, I don't know, if you've ever seen it, and for the love of God, never see it. The holiday specials, they are just awful. Don't watch the holiday specials. And the less said about the bloody movie, the Ewoks, the better. So I can say that they expand. You can say they expanded Ben's story, so he was watching over Luke. I get that, but Luke didn't know that, did he? You can see that in the first movie. Luke has no clue that he's being watched over by Ben. He sort of just knows that Ben exists, and that's all it really. I get he goes out with Ben purely out of revenge. I get that, but he shows no emotion. There's no emotion coming from Luke to say that, I'm really pissed off that you've killed my step parents. To be honest with you, it doesn't. He doesn't show that emotion. Well, does he look upset though? I mean, he doesn't go back to Ben and say, "Oh, I miss them so much. I can't believe they're gone." Whereas to Leia, he expresses that sentiment. So is he really that upset? Oh God, yeah. No, he was going anyway. To be honest with you, he'd already made his mind up before even his aunt and uncle had died, and he was just protesting to Ben. He was already going to go. To be honest with you, you could see that, and that's pretty. It's debatable. Is it implied that Bob was the one? Well, I suppose it could have been in some of the expanded universe, but you never know because everything's implied nowadays. It's always been implied the Imperials. Yeah, it's always implied that it was the Stormtroopers who did it, because they tracked the Jawas, they killed the Jawas, and then from tracking down the Jawas, they would have then found they'd sold the droids to Luke, to Beru and Owen. So yeah, it's the Stormtroopers. I would have thought, isn't it not? So yeah, they could. I think there's a lot of fan theory, Mako, on that. Darth Vader, say what? Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of fan theory about, did this happen and did that happen, and I get that, I understand that. And there's a lot of expanded universe books, but I'm not focusing on those. So yeah, but was he though? He did exactly, make it. He wanted to go like his friends. He literally said that, and you're right. He did say that the only thing holding him back was his aunt and uncle, but when you look at the scene between him and Ben, you can see he's going to take him to, Anchorage. He's going to take him to Anchorhead, which is far as he's going to take him. And yes, the only thing holding him back is his uncle and aunt. And once they're killed, obviously he's got nothing to keep him on Tatooine anymore. So yes, he's going to go there, and then he he's going to fully commit. But the point I'm trying to make is, I mean, he's known these people for 17 years of his life. I get he's expressing revenge. Yes, there could be some revenge, although he is tempted by Ben even before the revenge element. But yes, it was the final straw that broke the camel's back, releasing him to go. But the thing that gets me is, where's the emotion? Where's the emotion? I mean, we see more emotion when Ben dies, is my point. Is my point. And he hasn't known Ben for that long, to be fair. But it gets even more interesting than that. So, we then go to the Return of the Jedi. And in Return of the Jedi, he's a liar. Luke's lying at the beginning because he tells everybody he's a Jedi, when clearly he's not, because he goes to Yoda to finish his training. And to finish his training, Yoda tells him, oh, you've got to face Vader, his dad. So, here's a question for you. Do all Jedis have to do this? I mean, I get that he has to confront the thing that fears him, and Vader is obviously the thing that fears him. So, if other Jedis have a problem with their parents, do they have to go and confront them and destroy them? Which is basically what Yoda's saying. Yoda's basically saying you've got to destroy Vader. He doesn't destroy Vader as such. He actually turns him, to be fair. But there's a lot of family issues going on here, and I wouldn't have thought this if it wasn't for the final 3 episodes. And that's the point. Okay, this train of thought I've got wouldn't have happened because when I first saw Star Wars, in my understanding before I saw the last 3 movies, before the prequels, before the last 3, my view of Star Wars was it was effectively about Luke, okay? And it was effectively the story of Luke and his struggles in growing up. I mean, going from a petulant teen who is impatient and desperate to be something, we see him then slowly becoming a better person in The Empire Strikes Back, until he becomes a more grounded, rational person in Return of the Jedi. So I always thought it was about the struggle of good against evil, and it's the story of Luke. We then find out with the prequels, it's got fuck all to do with Luke. It's actually the story of Darth Vader, okay? Because the prequels focus on Anakin. So the story of Star Wars isn't about Luke, it's about Anakin because of the prequels. So the prequels introduce us to the child, that is Anakin. It then takes us into Attack of the Clones, which is then, this angry young man that Yoda had foreseen in the first movie. And then we move on to the final movie, Revenge of the Sith, whereby, Anakin is completely turned and turns into an absolute a-hole. So it becomes the story of Vader. We then pick that up in Star Wars, because that's episode 4, where we see that Vader is now, the right-hand man of Grand Moff Tarkin. We then go into the Empire, where it's all about Vader, although we now know he has a handler. And then we go into episode 6, Return of the Jedi, where Vader is slowly turned back and released from his hellhole. So I thought it was all about Vader. So initially I thought it was the story of Luke and, Luke's journey. And then I realised that episodes 1 to 3 makes it the story of Anakin and Anakin's journey. And then the final 3 come out, and the last film is the fucking nail in the coffin. It's got nothing to do with Luke, and it's got nothing to do with Anakin. It's got everything to do with the Emperor now. Everything is about the Emperor. So episode 1 now is about the rise of Palpatine. Simple as that. That's it. Episode 2 is about how Palpatine is getting his grips into Luke. In episode 3, Anakin. Episode 3 is about Palpatine turning Anakin. Episode 4 is Palpatine enforcing his will. Episode 5 is Palpatine now trying to get Luke to be turned by his father Vader. Episode 6 is now that. Episode 7, we're not told it's Palpatine, but now because of episode 9, which is a shit show, we're now told that, wow, You know, Star Killer Base was designed by the so-called Emperor who didn't die. Then we've got Snoke, who's been designed by the Emperor, and all the time it's all about Palpatine pulling the strings in the background um, on Exegol. And now we've got Rey, who is Palpatine's granddaughter. So the whole Star Wars canon now, it's got fuck all to do with the Skywalker family. It's got everything now to do with Palpatine. And if it wasn't for the last movie, if it wasn't for the last two films, the Last Jedi and the Rise of Skywalker, you could have forgiven the Force Awakens, but you can't anymore, because we see in the Last Jedi that Luke is a fucking has-been. Not only is a has-been, but Rey, with no Jedi training and nothing, easily defeats him. She defeats him. And we find out that Luke is actually an arsehole because he wanted to kill bloody Kylo Ren. And then we see that Rey is so much more powerful. She's like the most powerful Jedi ever. She's not even a Jedi. She's even more powerful than Anakin. I mean, even Anakin, aka Darth Vader, wasn't able to pull ships down and do crap like that. So what? I'm now confused. What I thought was about Luke is now about Anakin, and it's now absolutely nothing to do with that, and it's to do with the rise of the Emperor, Palpatine. I mean, it's just, I don't know. What do you think? What do you think? I mean, do you think that's a crazy synopsis? Because that's now what I'm thinking. I am now purely sat here thinking it's all about Palpatine, guys. Because episodes 1, 2, and 3 deal with Palpatine, his rise through the machinations, from going from ambassador to chancellor to emperor. Episodes 4, 5, and 6 is about how he's controlling Vader and getting Vader to turn his own son. And episodes 7, 8, and 9 is how he's manipulating the galaxy to come back. That's my take now on Star Wars, which is why I'm saying, has it lost its appeal? And I'd love to hear your views on this. Seriously, I really would, because I think, see, The Force Awakens I can forgive, because I can say, oh, it's just a rebrand of the original Star Wars. Instead of the Death Star, we got Star Killer Base. You know, the old geezer dying is now Han Solo instead of Ben Kenobi. It's instead of Luke being trapped on a desert planet without his parents, we have Rey trapped on a desert planet without any parents. So I can see the sort of lines between the two, between Star Wars Episode 4, New Hope, and The Force Awakens. I can see that. But when we get to episodes 8 and 9, The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker, all that is thrown completely out the window. Completely. It's completely out the window. To me, that's killed. Episodes 8 and 9 killed this franchise. And it just basically told everybody that you're all been idiots for watching this. Because it's nothing to do with what you think it's to do with. Luke Skywalker isn't this all-powerful Jedi. His father, Anakin, wasn't the one who was going to bring balance to the Force. It was always going to be Rey. Rey was going to bring balance to everything. And she's a Palpatine. She's a Palpatine. And the story is all about Palpatine. It's that crap, man. It's fucking terrible. And I wish somebody would jump in the chat to debate this. She is a Mary Sue. Come on. Rey is a Mary Sue. I mean, everybody instantly likes her. She's got power instantly. She does no training. I mean, what training does she do? She does no training in The Force Awakens. Okay, none at all. No training. Yet she can defeat Kylo Ren, who is trained and destroyed Luke. So that makes sense. She has a little bit of training in The Last Jedi, and I say a little bit. I mean, we don't see much apart from her swinging a lightsaber toward a rock. Yet she's able to defeat Luke, who defeated Darth Vader and the Emperor. What the fuck? And then in the last one, she defeats everybody. She defeats the Emperor. She defeats Kylo Ren. She defeats everybody. And she's had a little bit of training now from Leia. And we now discover that Leia is actually more powerful than Luke. I mean, this is a fucking joke, to be honest with you. It really is. Well, to be fair, it should be. It should be. I mean, they should change her from Rey to Mary Sue Palpatine, who then goes and takes the fucking name Skywalker. I mean, talk about stealing things. I mean, if these Jedi have got no compunction, you know, it's like, I mean, we get in the first film, what's your family name? You know, my name's Rey. It's just Rey. And then in the last one they say, what's your name? Rey. Rey what? Skywalker. Why don't you say just Rey? Why steal the Skywalker name? Oh, tell me about it, Hit Points. I mean, they turned Layla into... I mean, yeah. Seriously, I mean, yeah. She was able to fly through space and survive. I mean, what a kick in the teeth. Absolute kick in the teeth. And you're right. I mean, I have to do, to be fair, I have to do the same thing. Yusuf, I have to like switch off the last 3 movies, and I have to consider them as complete standalones. I really do, because it's it's fucking crap. And you know, yeah, the Leia scene really was hilarious. But I tell you what was more hilarious than that. So, Luke, okay, the all-powerful fucking Jedi, he wasn't powerful enough. Leia was more powerful, because on her deathbed, she transfers her life force to her dying son and brings it back to life again. I mean, what the fuck is all that about? I mean, that was more funny than her flying through space like Superman, to be fair. I mean, unbelievable. I just don't get it. I mean, look, I get that they're trying to make it, you know, child friendly, but that's always been a disaster. I mean, Return of the Jedi, bringing in teddy bears who are clearly stronger and better and everything than the stormtroopers and the ATST walkers on Endor was hilarious. I mean, and we all know that stormtroopers can't shoot for shit, but not being funny, their armor is crap, isn't it? I mean, if an Ewok can throw a couple of stones at you and destroy you, get a better job, because seriously, you're being given really shit armor. So the Ewoks was a bad move. Don't even get me onto Jar Jar Binks. I mean, fuck me. I mean, talk about. Yeah, I mean, wow. I mean, who in their right mind thought that character up? I'll tell you what we'll do. We're going to introduce a character who's dim-witted, stupid, and prone to being an absolute, you know, butthead. And we're going to give him like a strange Caribbean-esque accent. I mean, talk about racism. I mean, how much further do you want to go with that? And then, I mean, oh my God, I mean, unbelievable. It's just absolutely crazy. Exactly. I mean, what is this force healing? I mean, suddenly they can force heal? Why wasn't Luke shown this? Why wasn't Anakin shown this? Why did the Jedi Council never say to anybody, by the way, you can now force heal? Why? Why was Ben Kenobi not shown this so he could force heal Qui-Gon Jinn? Why? Why is it only Rey can do it? Well, no, it's not only Rey. Kylo Ren can do it as well, clearly. You know, what the fuck? So now we're being told that actually the Jedi Council kept this secret for themselves for such a long time. And nobody told anybody. But in episodes 1 to 3, they talk about, you know, Darth Plagueis talking about extending life, etc., etc. And to be fair, Rey is a Palpatine. So, and Luke does say that she goes straight to the dark side, basically, in The Rise of Skywalker. So is the Force healing a dark power? And if so, Rey lying at the end saying, "My name is Rey Skywalker," Is that like, yeah, give her a couple of years, she'll be a bitch and she'll take over the universe? Because let's be honest with you, she's not exactly stable. You tell me a time when, I mean, in most of the movies, she's going around as a grumpy cow. You know, she's not exactly happy, to be honest with you. She's quite grumpy. It's as simple as that. But maybe that force power is only for the dark side, as mentioned by by Darth Plagueis. But even so, let's say it isn't. Because obviously Leia uses it. She does. Leia uses it in the last film. So is Leia in the dark side? And if Leia isn't on the dark side, why has the Jedi Council kept this stuff so well hidden? And we could have had Qui-Gon Jinn surviving. But what the fuck? It's just absolutely mad. Mad. And, the last three films are just totally... Yeah, how did she get an orange lightsaber? I came up with force healing on the playground in second grade. That's why it's in the film, of course. That's very true. Exactly, Mako. So, if it's not a dark side power, why did the Jedi Council not tell the likes of Ben Kenobi that he could have, force healed Qui-Gon? It sounds a bit weird, why were they keeping this stuff secret? I mean, when Order 66 or Order 66 was done, if you would have had two Jedis together, they could have been force healing each other, and the Emperor's evil plan would have failed there, but it didn't. Unbelievable, really. So yeah, I have a bit of a problem now, whereby I now feel that Star Wars is purely about Palpatine. Don't get me wrong, I love The Mandalorian. I think it's great. The Mandalorian is very good. And here's the thing. So The Mandalorian, okay, it's just a TV show. It's not a feature-length movie like the budgets that... oh, for fuck's sake, do I have to mention Rian Johnson? I mean, what a prick. But, and J.J. Abrams, I mean, he let's be honest, he fucked up, he really did screw up Star Trek. And then he screwed up Star Wars. What he was trying to do is trying to rewrite it like the original, movies, but with a different slant. I get that. But he completely buggered both of them up. Is my view. I mean, the Star Trek, when they go into a parallel, they sort of branch off into a different timeline. It's like, yeah, okay, that makes perfect sense. Oh, crap. But like I said, I can forgive The Force Awakens. I mean, that's just a rebranding of Star Wars, just a little bit differently. But what Rian Johnson did to The Last Jedi is just absolutely awful. I mean, firstly, talk about action. In The Empire Strikes Back, we have AT-ATs attacking the rebels on Hoth. In The Last Jedi, we have ships slowly moving through space, trying to shoot each other in a very slow way. It's like, reminds me of that part in Deadpool when he's going to kill that guy on a Zumba, the ice machine. It's like, you're going to die in like 10 minutes from a Zumba. I mean, talk about excitement. I mean, what? I mean, the excitement of, here's a rebel ship going through space, here's an Empire ship just behind it, and clearly there's an issue. Clearly, there really is an issue there. I mean, it's unbelievable. It really is. I mean, if that's... I mean, I thought the plot of episode 1 was warped. I mean, can you imagine that? They all sat down and one day said, yeah, we had these great 3 movies about Star Wars. Yeah, these plucky rebels going out and destroying this thing called a Death Star, which has the ability to destroy a planet, etc., etc. How are we going to kick this off? What do you think? let's talk about taxation and trade routes, and let's have a blockade. Like, let's just go down like it's like a sanction. So yes, it's sanctioned. We've sanctioned it. We're going to sanction Naboo, and that'll be a great catalyst. What the why? Yes, give me the opening crawl. Yes, taxation and trade routes. Unbelievable. I mean, what the fuck? Could you not think of something slightly more exciting than taxation? It's like, okay, that didn't work. And then in episode 8 we get, let's have fleets go really slowly at each other and firing at each other. But laser beams now have a range. They don't just keep going. They run out of steam. Rise of Skywalker. Oh my god. Yeah. Okay, a couple of things about the Rise of Skywalker. Firstly, Exegol. Exegol is in the, unexplored zone, the hidden zone, the very difficult to find zone. In fact, it's so difficult you need a wayfinder to find Exegol. So if it's so secret and nobody knows how to get there unless they've got a Sith rangefinder, a wayfinder, which is, there's only two of them. One of them Palpatine had, but lost it because it was on the Death Star. And the other one was in some box on some other planet that Kylo Ren eventually picked up. But you've only got two wayfinders that show you the way, like some form of fucking GPS, to Exegol. So if that's the case, why the fuck do you need to build your ships under the ice? Just build the ships, keep them there, because nobody can find the bloody place unless they've got a wayfinder. And there's only two of them, and they're pretty much hidden. So why do you need to hide them? Why? And then, what's all this bullshit? What was the Emperor doing? Okay, I get he's dead and probably not working on full batteries, but he's gone out, he's built the First Order with their Star Killer base, it takes over a planet and it sucks the energy from a sun. That takes some doing, guys. They've then got all these massive ships that Snoke is on, that you see chasing them down in the Last Jedi. So what was the Emperor waiting for? He's built all these ships, hidden them under the ice on a planet that nobody knows exists and that nobody knows where it is, and he doesn't let them go. He just doesn't say go, just go, fucking take over. It's like, no. It's like James Bond, isn't it? I'm going to tell you the entire plot so you can destroy me before I do anything. What the fuck is all that about? That's like turning around and saying, I've got a gun, but I'm never going to use it. I mean, what stupidity is this? Why build the First Order when you've built the Last Order or the Final Order? Why build Starkiller Base when clearly you don't need it because you've got a shed load of Star Destroyers that have planet-killing capabilities? Why invest and spend all your time, money and effort on converting a planet to suck the shit from the sun when you've got, thousands of Star Destroyers that can do what a Death Star can do? And by the way, I was under the impression that the Death Star, if you look at the Death Star, the entire Death Star, it had to be that big to create that much power to create the destroying beam, and that we find that out in Rogue, we find that out there because it takes a lot of power, and it took them a long time to design the bloody Death Star. Yet now they can stick a Death Star beam onto a Star Destroyer. Really? What was all that about? I don't want to deal with it. How were they able to do that? How were they able to get from we need to have a big Death Star to actually we don't, we just need a little ship? Forget the Death Star. It doesn't make much sense to me, to be fair. But they screwed a lot of it up. Yeah, that's also true. They screwed up with Palpatine. They turned him from being a manipulative, evil genius to a stereotypical regular villain. He reminded me of Goldfinger You know, so when Ray turns up at the end, it's like, no, Ray, I expect you to die. That's unbelievable. And then another one, Kylo Ren. Okay, so in the first movie, we're told about Kylo Ren. Okay, so in The Force Awakens, there's this guy called Kylo Ren with his, you know, he's got his Legion of Ren. What are they called? Knights of Ren. Yeah, the Knights of Ren is other fellow Jedi's that he took with him. The Knights of Ren. Well, okay, we didn't hear about the Knights. We didn't see anything about the Knights of Ren. We didn't see them in the first movie. We didn't see them in the second movie. We see them in the third movie, and boy, they are shit. I mean, really crap, yeah? Oh, my life. I mean, they were totally not worth it. I mean, they were worse than Stormtroopers, to be fair. You know what? That's a really good point you make about the bombers. So, in the originals, the Y-wings were bombers. Okay, where the Y-wings were a lot faster than these pieces of shit that they used in The Last Jedi. I mean, these things were like chug, 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 chug. Y-wings were like doing the battle run on the Death Star trench. They were that quick. So why didn't you just, you know, why didn't you get anything better than that? You know, why? Yeah, it's just, you know, Disney really screwed it up, man. And for me, that takes a lot of the glamour away from it. It does actually take a lot of the glamour away from it. And with Rey being such a Mary Sue, I mean, bloody hell, it's unbelievable. Well, that was the other thing. I mean, when we go back to the prequels, I mean, what's all this bullshit about midi-chlorians? Suddenly we find out, well, actually, it's not a thing that binds us and surrounds us and brings the universe together. It's your biology. Yeah, if you were lucky enough to have the right DNA, where these little bacterial things called midi-chlorians jump into you, all is good. So, what is it? What is Jedi training? Is it training you how to, you know, manipulate the midi-chlorians within you? I mean, come on. I mean, we see in the original trilogy that it's about, you know, using the Force to summon everything around you. You know, Yoda says it, between you and the rock, the tree, even between me and the ship. So, are the midi-chlorians between Yoda and the ship? No. So what the fuck has midi-chlorians got to do about it? It's got nothing, has it? Really? So again, they introduced something that... They did this because they tried to make out that Anakin was like a Jesus figure. What with, you know, Shmi giving birth without conception. So it makes him into like a Jesus type figure. And that brings me... So if he's a Jesus type figure, how does it... He doesn't sacrifice himself, does he? Well, he does at the very end in episode 6, I guess. He does sacrifice himself, but he turns into an evil bastard before he does all that. You know, let's not be honest with you. He goes around killing the little blooming Padwans at the Jedi Academy, at the Jedi Council. You know, he goes on a path of absolute destruction. And I'm pretty sure that Jesus didn't do that. Yet we're sort of... It's implied in the first film that he's a Jesus-type figure. So, if that's the case, because he was conceived by the midichlorians, if that's the case, then again, there's a bit of a warpedness here. Now, it would have been a lot easier if they would have avoided the midichlorian bullshit altogether and just said, you know, well, you know, Shmi got knocked up by her previous owner before she got sold over to, you know, what's his name, and gave birth. That would have made a better story arc, and it could have said, you know, Anakin as a young kid was just, you know, good with the Force. He was able to sort of manipulate stuff, and had he have been fine, it would have been a better story arc, surely, and it would have made a lot more sense to what Ben was saying and what Yoda was saying in Return of the Jedi and The Empire Strikes Back. And even when Ben is training Luke in Star Wars. But now we've got talking about midi-chlorians and all this bullshit. It sort of swings it a bit. Now, I guess that a lot of this is probably explained away in the expanded universe and in the books. But we don't have but I haven't read the expanded universe, you know. I go to the movies or watch the movies. And I'm trying to find I'm watching the movies for the story because initially they were meant to be movies. So if they're saying, oh no, you're never going to get any of this unless you read the books, then again, the movies are pretty fucking pointless. Because if that's the case, don't need it. Just read the books. Don't need the movies. And, I've read Lord of the Rings, and to be fair, what Peter Jackson did with Lord of the Rings was condense a bloody an epic book, well, massive book, down into 3 really good movies. So it would have been better for George Lucas to say, actually, I'm not going to be a filmmaker. I'm going to be an author. I'm going to write this amazing, thing about science fiction in space, and then we'll condense it down. Surely that would have been better. So, absolutely, Zakov. He exactly goes around killing women and children and everything, which clearly isn't what Jesus does. The Gungans. Oh man, where do I go with the Gungans? I mean, they could have done that a lot better. Okay, you could have had this like amphibian type race living in the bowels of Naboo that didn't speak like they were Rastafarians on a lot of ganja with the overtones that they had. They didn't have to make them the way they did. They could have just given them a slightly variation on what we have, or given them a completely strange thing like they did with the with Newt Gunray and stuff like that. And they could have made the Gungans a lot better, but they didn't. They turned them into a stupid race, and they were trying to sort of do it the same way as what they did with the Ewoks. The Ewoks were just teddy bears. I mean, there's no easy way to say it. I mean, they're teddy bears, fucking teddy bears, and they're teddy bears that up until Han and Leia and everybody turn up, are clearly absolutely petrified of the Empire, because we see Wicket when he first meets Leia running away, literally hiding from a biker scout. Yeah, afterwards they beat Han, Leia and gang, and they're able to take on the Empire with their little flying machines, their swingy thingies, and trees that do this. So, honestly, wow. Darth Jar Jar. Yeah, Jar Jar was a completely failed comedic character, and it failed on so many different fronts. Firstly, the racial overtones were just unforgivable, and then secondly, if it's a kids' movie, kids aren't going to understand what this guy's saying. I mean, it took me a while when they first meet Jar Jar. Okay, Qui-Gon Jinn first meets him, and Qui-Gon says, "Are you an idiot?" And he goes, "I spec." I was like, "What? What was he saying? I speak, I spec, I see, I sue, what is he saying? I don't understand what he's saying." I didn't get it at first, to be honest with you. Darth Jar Jar. That would have been interesting. Exactly. Rey is more powerful than Anakin, which means the Palpatine line is more powerful than the Skywalker line. And don't forget, we don't know how Palpatine came into existence, but we're told that Anakin was conceived by the midichlorians. He was there to bring balance to the Force, etc., etc., etc. And he's meant to be like the chosen one. But in Luke is his offspring. Now, Luke is clearly not as powerful as Rey. Anakin is clearly not as powerful as Rey. Neither of them were as powerful as the Emperor. I mean, Luke doesn't defeat the Emperor. Remember that. Okay? Darth Vader kills the Emperor, not Luke. Luke was about to be destroyed by the Emperor. So clearly the Emperor is more powerful. Even Yoda says that the Emperor is more powerful and he can't face him alone. So we know that. In the first 3 movies, Anakin is not capable of, resisting the Emperor's overtures. So we know that the Emperor is more powerful there. Not only that, Palpatine has been walking around in plain sight. And even the Jedi Council, Yoda, etc., aren't able to feel or sense him. So clearly Palpatine is the stronger of all of them. And then in the last 3, Rey, who is the offspring, defeats Kylo Ren, who's the offspring of Leia, who's also Force sensitive because she's the offspring of Anakin, and she defeats Luke, who is the offspring also. Sorry, not Luke. She defeats Luke, who's also the offspring of Anakin directly, and then she defeats Palpatine. So clearly the Palpatine midichlorian gene is a lot stronger than the Skywalker one. Maybe. So I'm going back to Star Wars is not about the Skywalker line. It's about the Palpatine line. So they really screwed it up. And it really hurts your head. Well, it hurts my head to try and work out where the hell this is all going. Where have they gone with this? I mean, they must have sat there one day and said, they sat around the table one day for the Rise of Skywalker, and somebody said, "Hey, I've got a brain fart. Let's fuck Luke over. Let's fuck Anakin over, and let's make Palpatine the best guy." And it was a big brain moment, a huge brain moment, and I get that some people like these movies, but it depends. I mean, if you've never seen the first 3, i.e., A New Hope, Return of the Jedi, and The Empire Strikes Back, I get that you're not gonna really sort of get it if they're just interesting movies. But if you've seen the first 3 and then you've seen the prequels, then you think, well, hang on a minute, this is completely screwed up. And here's another thing in The Last Jedi. In Star Wars, we see Ben lopping off Walrus face his arm with a lightsaber. Woof! Just goes. In The Empire Strikes Back, we see the Wampa get his arm lopped off. Woof! It goes. And we also see Luke getting his hand chopped off. Woof! It goes. Can't remember what we see getting lopped off in Return of the Jedi, but I'm pretty sure there was something. Then we have Episode 1, okay, where Darth Maul gets lopped in half by Ben Kenobi. Woof! Chopped in half. We see him falling down the tube, falling in half. In Episode 2, we see Anakin chopping things off everything with those poor old Tusken Raiders, as they're now called. And then in Episode 3, we see things getting lopped off again. When we get to the new films, lightsabers are not as powerful anymore. They go through you, but you watch the battle in Snoke's throne room, okay? Nothing happens, nothing gets lopped off, there's no lopping off of anything. Not really. And now you can stop lightsabers with like a piece of metal thingy. What the hell? When did lightsabers suddenly become so shit that they didn't lop anything off anymore? When did that happen? Because it happened at some point. Hang on a minute. My headphones have just turned off because I'm not listening to anything. Come on, headphones, turn back on. Come on. Right, here. Right, my headphones turned off, which is why I wasn't hearing anything. So, whoa. Zakov, no, you're wrong. Han shot first. No, you're right, sorry. Han did shoot first. Han is a bastard and a murderer. And he's a criminal because he's a smuggler. And what is he smuggling? It's not like he's smuggling Beanie Babies, is it? He's smuggling something nasty because he has to drop his shipment. And let's be fair, Jabba the Hutt is a nasty guy. So, Vader's arm gets lopped off in Episode 6. That's right. Yeah, he's smuggling something mean and nasty. Yeah. And then he kills poor Greedo initially in the before obviously George Lucas went back and changed it. He goes around and Han shoots poor Greedo before Greedo has a chance to do anything. Now, of course, we've got the bullshit where Greedo shoots and Han just moves his head to the side a little bit because Greedo's obviously just a shit bounty hunter. Oh, it's brilliant. It's bullshit. That's what it is. It's absolute bullshit. And, I just don't understand it. Oh, absolutely, I lost my hit points. The Jedi Council screwed Anakin over in so many different ways. I mean, oh my god. That's right, Spicy. Qui-Gon didn't need to die because we find out that in Episode 8, we've got Episode 9, Force healing abilities. We can heal people. But Ben Kenobi wasn't told this by the Jedi Council, so poor old Qui-Gon dies without being Force healed. Oh... Absolutely, it's exactly. But it's because they didn't have the Mary Sue that is Rey. You see, the all-powerful, all-knowing Jedi extraordinaire without any training, apart from throwing a lightsaber towards a rock every now and then. Strong, diverse. Yeah, we didn't have a strong female character. No, Leia was not strong or female. Yeah. So when did that happen? I mean, from the initial Star Wars: A New Hope, we can see that Leia is strong, independent, and female. She loses the strength and independence a little bit in The Empire Strikes Back because she succumbs to Han's charms, and then she gets even more sort of, teary-eyed and girly in Return of the Jedi. But prior to that, I mean, in Star Wars, she was pretty strong. And then we've got Padme in the first three. Again, in the first episode, she's pretty strong. In the second episode, she also succumbs to Anakin. And then the third episode, she also becomes this more girly. Whereas Rey is not girly. I mean, she is just, yes, I am so strong from day one. That's it. But I'm also not very happy, and I never have been. And I find this little droid. I save the little droid. The little droid wants to come with me, and I tell him to fuck off. Fuck off, droid. Basically, that's what she says to BB-8 in no uncertain terms. It's just unbelievable. Yeah, I agree. Should have been standalone, not a continuation. I mean, it was bollocks. Oh. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I could. Yeah, what they should have done, I think, what they should have done when they went down and we were shown the Senate. Jar Jar should have been teamed up with the Ewoks, and it really would have gone in a different direction, I think. But no, they stuck E.T. in there instead. What the fuck was all that about? E.T. E.T. My God. Just looking at the chat here, I don't think it was 50 Shades of Grey. I think it was like even worse than that. I mean, we're talking Human Centipede levels of crapness, Episode 9. You're right, how can you be on the Jedi Council and not be a master? Well, you can, because the script says so. Yeah, exactly. Absolutely, eh? Bye, Zakov. How you doing? It's just, yeah. Somebody makes a point here. Somebody makes a point here. It's a really good point. You know, why is it? Has anybody else? It's from Francis Fox. Anyone else notice this? Anakin loses lots of his limbs, his arm, multiple times. He obviously loses his legs. Luke loses his hand, but Rey, the worst she gets is being thrown against a tree. That's because she's a strong female. Yeah, you can't give the character of a strong woman, threats like that. That just doesn't work. And you certainly can't have it when it comes from a man. Absolutely. Exactly. There's no way you cannot have, when you've got a strong female character like Rey in this modern age, being defeated by Kylo Ren, who's a white male character. You can't have that. Now, yeah, I believe it. Mm. Absolutely, they used to be, but they're not anymore. Now they just sort of give, it's a flesh wound. Nothing a flesh wound. It's just a flesh wound. No, no, you. Episode one. Episode one, Qui-Gon is using it to break open the blast doors. Yeah, he's using it to break open the blast doors. Yeah, absolutely. Correct, correct. Here's another one for you. Here's another one for you. So, we see in The Force Awakens, when they go to meet Maz, Kamata, whatever her stupid name is, they find Luke's lightsaber that he lost on Bespin. Remember that? And he says, "How did you get this?" And she says, "That's a story for another time." Okay, so how did you get this? We still don't know. Nobody's told us because in the right in the Last Jedi, she was too busy dealing with a trade dispute, an employment issue. Finn. Yeah, 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 yeah. Wow, exactly. I mean, obviously they were made out of kyber crystals. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, exactly. And then when you jump into Snoke's throne room, you've got his sort of bodyguards, the guys in red. I mean, they're able to fight off two Jedi's effectively. Hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, it's just crazy. I mean, it's they made it that lightsabers now are not as well. They're not as they're not called lightsabers anymore, are they? What are they called now? Laser swords, that's it. It's now a laser sword, yes. It's every time they say it, it makes me laugh because I jump back to Guardians of the Galaxy 2 in Laserface. Of all the names out there, you thought Laserface was the best? We could call him Jar Jar Laserface with his laser sword. Fucking unbelievable, really. Yeah, but every time they mention it, it reminds me of that. It reminds me of Rocket saying Laserface. It's Taserface, isn't it? It's not Laserface, it's Taserface. But it reminds me of that. Yeah. And no, you're right. I mean, God. No, go on. Yeah, you're right, Fox. It is. Yeah, that's a crazy, man. It's like, you know, I have more fun watching The Mandalorian because I think The Mandalorian is fantastic. And it says a bit much. Well, wow, you say that, but it says a bit much when The Mandalorian actually gets the noise of the crate dragon correct, whereas George Lucas went back and changed it. So in the original Star Wars, when Ben Kenobi turns up and makes that sound, that the Sand People run away, he's making the sound of the crate dragon. Okay, but then George Lucas changed it to make some other fucking stupid sound. But when they did The Mandalorian and they do the episode in season 2 with Timothy Oliphant is like in the Boba Fett armor, they're chasing down a crate dragon, and they use the noise that Ben Kenobi originally did in the original Star Wars. That says a lot. That they actually go, absolutely, yeah. Again, Rogue One had a strong female character also, and she wasn't all powerful like Rey. Yeah. Hang on a minute. That's another good question about Hook. Well, it's not a question about Hooks. It's saying I'm really, Fox is saying I'm pissed that Phasma and Hooks didn't get more. I just want to go back to Hooks a minute. So General Hooks, okay, in the first in Force Awakens, you can see he's a bit of an arsehole, okay. He's the guy in charge of Starkiller Base. He's the guy who says fire when Starkiller Base fires everything off to Coruscant to blow the shit out of that. In The Last Jedi, he's a bit of a bastard as well. He's got it in for Kylo Ren, blah blah blah, and then he wants to do all the attacks. Yet we find out in the final episode, actually, he's a spy. He's not a committed war criminal. He hasn't just murdered billions of people on Coruscant. And, he's actually a spy working for the rebels. What the fuck? What? Absolutely. I wouldn't have thought it would have gone down that way. But, so General Hux is a spy. Yes. Why? Because he doesn't like Kylo Ren. Yeah. Absolutely. Mm. it wasn't just a planet though. As Mako points out, it's not just Coruscant, but it was the entire system, and that is true. It is the entire system. Yeah. Yeah. No. No, there isn't. No, no, there isn't. So Hux murders trillions of people, but now he's a spy. He's a good guy. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, there was no growth. Of course, there was no growth. I mean, Ray is powerful from the moment we see her. It's outrageous. Mm. Mm. Well, you know what? I thought they were going to go in a different direction when I first watched The Force Awakens, and okay, Ray is going to be Force aware, but when Finn picks up the lightsaber, and this is I thought it was going to be more about Finn than Ray, because we follow him. He throws off his I was a stormtrooper. We get rid of that bullshit, and then he turns into a member of the Alliance. And then he picks up the lightsaber to fight Kylo, and I thought, oh, here we go. And he also picks it up to fight off Phasma. He picks up that swordy thing to fight off not Phasma. He's not fighting Phasma in the first one. He's fighting just a trooper. But I thought, okay. And I thought, maybe, just maybe, they're going to go in the direction of Finn. And then we get The Last Jedi. And Finn is now seen as some fucking weakling who, oh my god, I'm shitting myself because we're all going to die. I've got to leave the ship because they're going to chase us down. And he just... Yeah. Yeah. No. No, we don't. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and then we see Finn also automatically. So in the first film, we see him being quite a strong character. Okay, he's developed as a strong character. He's got a mind of his own. He moves away from the first alliance. He breaks away. He becomes a member of the rebels, whatever they're called. He becomes a strong character. In the second film, he's an absolute weakling, complete weakling. What, Poe? Well, Poe and Finn, Poe becomes a complete and utter fucking retard in the second film, and I mean a retard. And he just disobeys orders left, right, and centre. Yeah, completely inept, disobeys orders left, right, and centre. Um, and the people he's disobeying them because he's a white male, and obviously they're women, and you can't disobey the women. Simple as that. And then in the third film, he becomes totally irrelevant, completely irrelevant. Poe, totally irrelevant. Same as Finn. Finn and Poe are just even more inept in the third film. Yeah, but they screw them over massively in the third film. I mean, in the second film, Finn is playing second fiddle to Rose. I mean, what? What? No. Correct. Yeah. Hey, Dark Ashes. No. Hmm. Yeah. Absolutely. I'm so scared. I'm so scared. I'm just going to take orders from Rose. No, you're right. Level two training. He's not. No. Yeah. Mad. Unbelievable. And it's like when we first get introduced to Rose, it makes me laugh. So we're first introduced to Rose, and she said, "Oh my God, you're Finn. You're like you're really high up." And then she fucking tases him. It's unbelievable. Yeah, and then we've got okay, a couple of other things. Admiral Haldo. What the fuck's going on there? Why can't you just turn around and say, "Look, Um, we can't go to hyperspace because we haven't got the fuel. So what we're going to do, we're slowly moving in this direction, and we're going to, we're going to basically do this, and this is our escape plan." But she just says, "Fuck off, Poe. I'm not telling you anything." Yeah, yeah, yeah. Poe, you're useless. Fuck off. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's just yeah. Absolutely, Mako. Palpatine coming back was. I mean, right. I want to just discuss that one. So in Return the Jedi, because I'm trying to get my head around most of this shit. In Return the Jedi, Darth Vader picks up Palpatine, throws him down the shaft, which we know is bloody long. It's a long shaft, and then we see Palpatine basically explode in. I'm assuming it's his life force or his dark side force or whatever comes shooting back up the shaft, and then the Death Star gets blown to smithereens, literally blown to smithereens. So here's my question: how the fuck did his body get to Exegol? How did he get there? How? Okay, so if he was cloned, why is it when he's at Exegol, he's like dead? He's like dead. Because he needs to suck the life force out of Rey and Kylo Ren to not be dead. So how does his carcass, his cadaver, his corpse, get from the obliterated Death Star all the way to Exegol? Who the fuck took him there? And is another question for you. The person who took him there, how did they get there? Is there a third wayfinder? Well, there isn't because we're told there are only two. So who took him to Exegol? Because how did they get there? Because One Wayfinder is in the Emperor's throne room, still on the Death Star, and the other one is in some forest place being guarded by totally inept people in a box. Or was it the totally inept people who managed to save the Emperor's cadaver, use their Wayfinder to go to Exegol, dump him there, leave Exegol, go to this strange forest place to let Kylo Ren then destroy them later, and pick up their Wayfinder? I mean, what a load of bullshit! We've got no audio coming through. This is bullshit.
I will always love like the books because the books were kind of where I started. Um, I usually read all the books before I saw any of the movies, just so I could see the movies and be like, oh, hey, that's not right. Like, hey, wait a minute, that's not supposed to be there. That's the wrong. Yeah, like
I'm just reading the chat. That is brilliant. Yes! Kill me, Darth or Luke, because I have this super secret planet called Testicle, and I will be coming back again and again
I will be
and
coming
again and again and again and again. Doesn't matter how many times you blast me to smithereens, I will just keep
I
on
always have a
coming
secret
back.
planet.
do it, do it.
Unbelievable.
I think he has like a dozen secret planets and he's just going, okay. And he has some mental issue from losing. He probably played too much World Tanks Blitz and then just gave up on winning.
Yeah, but no.
I think he.
Bryce and Clonic, I get that Palpatine could be a clone. I get that. I understand that. But why is he then dead on Exegol? He's literally, if you look at him and you see it at the end, he sucks the life force out of Rey and Kylo Ren, and his fingers start growing back and everything. So he's literally a corpse. He's not a clone. He's a corpse.
He's
That
literally
speaks.
an age-old dead guy. he like even in the books, it kind of shows that he actually is prolonging his own life by killing other people. Like
Yeah.
Palpatine in his younger age, I forget what year it was, he wiped out like a third of an entire planet just for their life force so that he could live forever.
Yeah. The Fox is saying here, what I'm hoping they do is decanonize it by using the veil of the Force to make it just never happen. What I would do is bring out episode 10. And episode 10 starts with Luke Skywalker waking up going, fuck, I just had a horrible nightmare.
Yeah,
That would be great. That would be amazing. Let's just retcon. Let's just retcon the last 4 movies. That's fine.
Yeah, it's
That's
like a
pretty-
Dallas scenario. Just waking up going, my God, that was a horrible nightmare. I've got to stop this from happening. I need to get Han and Leia into marriage counseling.
I need to, yeah. Yeah, and then you just teleport to some point between, what, the 5th and the 6th movie?
Absolutely. Yeah, and you can wipe out the previous 3 by saying it was just a dream. Nothing
Yeah,
more.
I
Just a
just
dream.
hope they do that.
No, why do I feel like if Lucasfilms were to buy the rights to Star Wars back again, that's exactly what they would do.
'Cause they
They
probably
would just be like, "Oh, we're gonna retcon all of the Disney movies, except for Rogue One and the Han Solo spinoff, because I'm pretty sure both of those were Lucasfilms."
Absolutely. So it'd
That
be
would be
interesting.
epic.
It'd be interesting.
That would be very cash money.
No, that would be
No, I think
super
it would
kick.
be. I think it would be. They could do that. You know, just have Luke wake up on his little, on board the Millennium, on board whatever, sat in Dagobah or whatever. I don't.
No,
It doesn't
well,
matter.
here's the thing. The other thing is he was in exile before the start of A Force Awakens.
Yeah.
Yes, he was.
So theoretically, what they could do is they could have him, in exile, wake up and have like visions of what Kylo Ren is going to do, with Kylo Ren being there before all of the shit went down,
yeah.
and then
yeah.
him just be like, "Oh, I gotta prevent Kylo Ren from going off the fucking deep end and killing all of his brothers."
Yeah, before the
absolutely.
exile, they need to
Hang
do
on,
it.
hang on. Spicy. You're not getting it, mate. In the film Solo, strong female character. Simple.
And at
I
least
didn't. I thought the
No.
Solo movie was about Solo, not a strong female character.
no.
Well, it
Yes,
leads
there
you
was
down that
a
road, but it
strong
doesn't,
girl,
is it?
but-
It's about strong female character again because she gets the upper hand all the time, all the time.
Because
Oh,
apparently
that's right. They
women are
made Han Solo a bitch in that movie. That's right.
Yes,
Right.
they did. They did. He was.
They
was
made
her
him.
bitch.
They made him a whole ass bitch. They made him a
Absolutely.
whole ass bitch.
Absolutely, he was like, yeah, okay, I'm this lovable rogue, but actually, no, I'm not.
He's not lovable in any way, shape, or form. Like the idea of his character, at its core is supposed to be this cringy old guy that was taking orders from Jabba
Yeah,
for like decades. And
Yeah,
then
yeah,
they're
yeah,
just
yeah.
like, oh yeah, we're not gonna fuck with Jabba at all. We're just not gonna mess with it. We're gonna give him this
Correct.
chick, and then they're gonna argue, and then he's gonna be a sub for 90% of the movie.
yeah. But this is why I like Rogue One. I mean, Rogue One. Okay, we had a strong female character.
Yeah, Rogue
but,
One.
But it was written. It was a well developed and well written character that didn't
Yeah,
have
like
special powers and bullshit like that.
no special, just common.
Correct.
That's what made her
Yeah,
great.
she was good not only because she didn't have her upper hand handed to her on a silver platter like it was in
Correct.
Han Solo. Well, she actually worked for the prowess that she got, which is why I think that movie did a lot better because of the fact that it wasn't just, oh, she's a female character, so we have to have all of the strong men, quote unquote, in the movie bow down to her
Yeah.
because yada yada yada.
Exactly. And this is where, don't get me wrong, I understand that there's, a lot of wokeness in the world at the moment, but not to the point where
Yeah.
you have to belittle everything. I mean, Rey
Yeah.
could have been, like I said, Leia was a strong female character in Star Wars. Padme was in
was.
the original Star Wars. She lost it
They
over
were
the Empire
called
Strikes Back in
Titans.
Return of the Jedi. Don't get me wrong.
Ahsoka,
Initially-
Ahsoka from the Clone Wars was a very strong female character.
Absolutely. And, I mean, is it Ahsoka in The Mandalorian? It is, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
And she's still a strong female
Because
character.
Ahsoka, the adult Ahsoka is kind of not as strong of a character as her younger form in
Mhm.
the Clone Wars, because in Clone Wars she was badass. Like she was the one
Crazy team.
that went toe to toe with Grievous. She went toe to toe with Grievous and won on multiple occasions. She
Yeah.
Adrenaline
Fought-
filled
no.
teen. Acceptable.
Yeah, she was a teenager that kicked a lot of ass, and she was respected for it, which is why she was a really strong character. In The Mandalorian, she just
That's
stood
development.
around, said a few sentences, and was like, "All right, that's it."
Cameo.
Yeah, but she did.
Yeah,
she
it,
then
it
goes
was a
on-
cameo.
Yeah, but she then goes on and fights another strong female character, so everything's good. But
Exactly.
thing is,
Yeah,
it's like in
exactly.
Rogue
We'll
One,
fight
you
someone
can
female.
still have a strong female character and not be bullshit. And we've seen that in Rogue One. She is a strong female character. We've got a strong male character as well, who's equally as much of a strong character, but she doesn't use her "I'm better than you because I'm female" tricks on him. She just tells him the truth.
No.
You're an arsehole, mate. We've got to fight.
Yeah.
We've got to do this. She brings
I mean,
him
literally,
round.
if they were if they were to make another spin-off movie, the one spin-off movie that I would love to watch is any movie that is the main focus of the Order 66. Like, if there was a movie that was just set during the execution of the order to kill all of the Jedi, I would watch the hell out of that movie.
Well,
But, like-
there's a lot of that's one of the downsides to Star Wars. There's a lot of
Of,
things they could have
of
done.
very
It's like-
cool.
It's like,
Yeah.
where's the movie telling us about the Botham spies? I want to know what happened to the Botham spies. I want to know, how did they all die?
Yeah.
What happened to the Bothams who tried to get all this information about the second Death Star? I want to know that. I want to know how Palpatine came into existence. That seems to be a better story than how Anakin came in, because it probably hasn't got fuck all to
Yeah,
do
but
with trade
the
and
other-
taxation. So I want to know
Yeah.
what happened there.
I want to know about the dark saber. Hold up. Real
Yeah.
talk. I want to know about the dark saber. I want to know about the fucking yellow lightsabers. The original Kyber crystals when they were discovered, because there was a whole story about that. There was
Yeah.
a whole story about the primal force users, which were like the first gen Jedi.
Yeah,
Where
I
did
also
they all
want to know.
go?
I want to know where Darth Maul's been hanging out since the Phantom Menace in Solo.
Mostly in Clone Wars.
I want to know who picked him up from the bottom of the shaft in Naboo and stuck
Oh, yeah.
their
Well,
legs on him.
hold
That's
up.
what I want to know as well.
Didn't Solo happen before, like chronologically? Didn't Solo
After
the movie
666.
technically take?
No, it can't.
Oh, that's post order. Okay, that's post order. Got it. Okay.
But
Solo
what
is
I'm
like
trying to
after
work out is
66
this.
when Empire
So-
started recruiting people.
But if we go
the
back,
military.
yeah, because Solo works for the Empire, so it can't be prequel because there's no Empire. So it can only be
It's
after. And you
Yeah,
know,
because in
that's-
my brain, for some reason, I thought that Solo was working for Jabba at the time.
That's true. But here's a question for you. So we hear in the Phantom Menace at the end, Yoda saying, only two Sith, a master and an apprentice. Okay? We now discover in Solo, Darth Maul isn't dead. So that means there's been three of them.
But
Darth
if you
Maul
read
didn't
Yeah,
cease
but-
to be a
Sith stuff,
Sith. When did Darth Maul
that's a
cease to
made-up
be a
story.
Sith?
Actually, made
Yeah,
up
but
story.
that also begs the question. So we have General Grievous, who is now very dead. I think.
Yes,
Who knows
he
if they're going to bring him back? 90% sure he is very much dead.
Pretty
We
sure he
have
is.
what was the old guy that liked to use Force lightning? That's not Palpatine. Forget what his name is.
Count Dooku.
Count.
I haven't
Dooku.
watched the animated
He-
ones, Mako, that's why.
I'm pretty sure Count Dooku is also dead. I could be wrong
Yeah.
about that.
Well, he had his head chopped
He's
off. so
also dead because didn't Mace Windu
doesn't
kill him
matter.
or something like that?
No, Anakin at the start.
Anakin
of
chops his head
Anakin.
off,
Yeah,
dude.
that's right.
Chops
Anakin
his
lops
head
his head off.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, that leaves us with Maul, Palpatine, and what was the other guy?
There wasn't another guy. Those are all of them.
But here's
There
the
were-
thing. I mean,
Then
firstly,
who-
Spicy. The master. My understanding was the master for Palpatine was Darth Plagueis the Wise, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yes,
But-
Plagueis.
but-
Plagueis is Dude, where did he go? I want a movie about him.
I
Like,
want a movie about him. This is what I
honestly.
mean. I want Palpatine's origin story, where he learns from Plagueis the Wise and then destroys him to become
She
Palpatine.
kills him in his sleep. We know that.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
the
we
thing-
know
the
that
thing
this happens, but I want to know like the backstory. Yeah.
Like,
Well, you say that, the Fox. So do you? So you sort of get demoted from being a Sith? Is that how it works? Because the way that
No,
the
it's
Jedi
not.
Order, the way that the way that I see it, Sith in Jedi are religious in their makeup. They're like it's like a
Yes, they
religious thing. So if it's religious, so you get replaced.
It's more of
you
a
get-
cult, but yes.
Yeah. So he's been excommunicated.
yes.
so Darth Maul was excommunicated, so Count Dooku could take over. Okay, fair enough. But Maul surely doesn't stop being a Sith just because he's been chopped in half. He's still a Sith.
Uh,
And here's
okay,
another
that's
question
interesting.
for
I
you.
mean, the
Here's
same
another question
thing-
for you. When you go to episode 9, okay, and we go to Exegol, who the fuck are all those people there? Because they're like
Yeah.
thousands of
I
people
just
there.
thought about that. Yeah. Who are all of these? Yeah. So my first thought to answer that question is if the guy didn't kill all the people with the Death Star, is this where all those people went?
And how did they all get there? They all got wayfinders, of which there's only 2.
Yeah, there's just so many plot holes. Just the
no,
fact
no.
that place exists.
No, you're wrong. J.J. Abrams and Ryan Johnson are fucking geniuses. We've missed all of this. The reason why they had the First Order, and the reason why the Final Order, okay, took so long, was because they only had 2 wayfinders, and they lost one of them. And it takes a long time to ship all those people out when you've only got one wayfinder. That's why it's taken so long for the Emperor to rise. Because they only had one wayfinder.
Yeah.
That's it. And you had to take all those
Dude,
people to Exegol.
I would love to go back to the days when I could hear a droid say Roger, Roger.
It's just bullshit. It's. I mean, they really did fuck it up, but hey. But I get they cover it in the Clone Wars, but it's still, it still makes you wonder, because then they show you Darth Maul in Solo, so he's still acting Sithy.
Because
He's
he
still
was-
an asshole. Because
He's still evil. Therefore, if he's pulling the strings,
he's still an asshole.
Yeah, I mean, if he's pulling the strings of what they called, you got Emphas Ness and what's the other one called? I can't remember what it's called now. It's on the tip of my tongue.
All I'm gonna say, the rule of the 2 is a lie, basically, because there can be multiple Siths. Cough, cough, Dooku, cough, cough, Palpatine, cough, cough, Maul. But Palpatine spread that rumor, it's obvious.
Yeah, but
But here's the thing: Palpatine spreading it would be to his own benefit, because he could just play from the shadows, because nobody could outright sense his force power. So he could literally just be like, "Oh, I'm just over here."
He
could theoretically
he's still
just
on the dark side. So there's clearly more than 2 Sith.
Yeah, he could fake his own death and nobody would know the difference.
Bro, don't worry, that's why in next movie I heard there's gonna be Vyagul and the second Final Order. The one after the first Final Order.
No, I get that, Fox, that he was a criminal syndicate leader, but that's still pretty dark. So there's still a bit of Sith in him.
Yeah, but I mean, then again,
he's not nice.
Would that be fair to say then that Boba and Jango are both very, very bad people because of what they do for a living?
And,
But Darth Maul. Yeah, but let's be fair. Darth Maul was an apprentice Sith who then killed a Jedi. So, it's not like Boba Fett is a bounty hunter who goes around a bit like the Mandalorian.
We have a bounty hunter and a
trained in
man.
Sith.
So
yeah, but they're not trained in the ways of the Force. Whereas Darth Maul is clearly trained in the ways of the Force. But you can tell, when you see the battle, he's Force pushing things left, right, and center, and all that sort of stuff. So he's trained in the Force, unlike Boba Fett. Boba Fett's not. Boba Fett's a person who has to use. Well, he's not. He's a clone, but he has to use armor and all that sort of stuff.
Conventional weapons, yeah.
Yeah. Whereas Darth Maul is not one of those. Jabba is not one of those. Jabba is not a Force-sensitive person. So, hey,
or Jenga,
Sharky, by the way, sorry. No, Jabba, because Jabba the Hutt is one of the crime syndicates in the end, isn't he? So, I don't think you can say that the criminals are Sithish, but clearly Darth Maul is trained in the ways of the dark side.
I also find it funny that you have people running around with laser swords, quote unquote, but a disintegration rifle is illegal.
Face.
Like, there's like a Geneva Convention type of thing in the Star Wars universe that says, oh, by the way, disintegration rifles are illegal. Yet the Mandalorian uses one religiously.
It's the way.
Yeah, but he's okay because this is the way. As
I mean,
Bernard
literally,
said.
a disintegration rifle. I also want to know how people know what this feels like, but like, the reason that a disintegration rifle is illegal is that it feels like your atoms are being ripped apart one by one by one
Well,
instantaneously.
clearly disintegration
The-
weapons are not illegal because the Empire built a big fuck off one called the Death Star that disintegrates entire planets.
Yeah, I know, but like, the Mandalorian is supposed to be not necessarily the best person, but the idea that someone somehow knows what this feels like and isn't dead.
Yeah. Well, let me just get back to that. That's the problem, Fox. They shouldn't have killed Darth Maul in the first movie. They should have. He should
Nope,
have been
they should not have.
defeated.
He's
He
alive.
should have been defeated, but not replaced by Dooku. Now, I think they should have replaced.
He works in the background.
Maybe they should have replaced him because Dooku's a good character. Don't get me wrong, because this is showing Dooku's character arc is showing you that the Jedi have really lost grip and they're in. It's sort of this is the thing. As much as what Luke says in the Last Jedi about the reason why he's turned his back on the Jedi Order is because of their hubris, etc., is actually correct. Because they got so overconfident, they couldn't see the threat of Palpatine, the Sith rising, and stuff like that. Dooku was a Jedi who said, "Fuck off! I don't want to be a Jedi anymore." But they still said, and he says it in Attack of the Clones. Ben Kenobi says, "Oh, Dooku can't harm anybody. He used to be a Jedi." So they are so up on their hubris and confidence that they don't realise that Palpatine is there and the Sith are there and Dooku's even a member of the Sith Empire now. So I get that part. But they shouldn't have killed Maul off because he was a really sort of prominent character. But they should have basically tried, there should have been this conflict, I think, in Attack of the Clones between Dooku and Maul.
Yeah, there should have been, and there just wasn't.
That would have been an interesting development leading into the third film, whereby Anakin has to destroy both of them, in other words, to become the new apprentice. Then I'd understand it. Then I'd get it a bit more, but they didn't go that way, so... Yeah, he would have. I mean, because let's face it. I mean, Dooku was easily. And this is the other thing that pisses me off. In Attack of the Clones, Dooku easily defeats Yoda and Anakin together, realistically. Or Yoda does put up a good fight, but Dooku wins the fight, realistically. Yet in Revenge of the Sith, Anakin pushes him over. Really, seriously, like boom. Actually, Dooku, you're a piece of shit. I'm easily better than you. And
I think that's one of the underlying problems of a lot of Star Wars is that the power level of characters likes to fluctuate a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And that at a story design standpoint, that's a very bad thing because you can't establish, oh, I am the most powerful being in the universe, yada yada yada, because some pipsqueak 2 movies down the line can just be like, oh, I'm gonna flick you in the face and you're gonna go flying.
Yeah.
Also,
Don't get me wrong. I understand the opening of Revenge of the Sith, where obviously Palpatine manipulates Anakin into destroying Dooku to become his new apprentice. I get that. I understand that. But they should have developed that further. It shouldn't have been, oh, I'm just going to kill Dooku, the guy who destroyed me in the last movie and was able to chop bits off me, which he did, to be fair. I'm going to destroy him really easily, and now the rest of the film is going to be talking about my manipulation. And what it should have been more of Anakin being manipulated by Palpatine to replace Dooku. And instead of destroying all the Jedi, maybe it would have been better for Dooku to destroy the Jedi and then Anakin to destroy him. Maybe.
Yeah, like it was just kind of a lot of design, not necessarily design, but story writing flaws because there were a lot of parts in the earlier movies that just didn't make any sense. Because like they were correct events, don't get me wrong. Most of the first 4 episodes were chronological correct events. But there was just so much in between those events that was missing that the events themselves didn't make any sense.
Did any of you guys even watch Clone Wars? Or
I haven't.
did.
I haven't watched the
I
animated
watched.
series.
Okay, I'm actually watching Rebels right now. I'm about halfway through.
Rebels is kind of for a show, but Clone Wars should.
Yeah,
watch.
Clone Wars goes hard. Yeah.
Basically,
No, hang on a minute. I get that, Fox.
survives,
I get that
he's like
Palpatine
Red
betrayed him. I understand that. But I think it would have been better if Dooku escaped in Revenge of the Sith. And Palpatine was sort of building, because he hadn't turned Anakin at this stage, so he's still turning Anakin. And it was Dooku who then destroyed the Jedi. And then Anakin then destroys Dooku. I think that would have been better, and it would have made Anakin look more of a nicer guy. Because when he destroys, I mean, obviously they have to do it this way to show you how far Anakin has fallen. But he falls pretty quickly and pretty hard.
Yeah, he does.
You know, to be honest with you, he goes from being Mace Windu, this man is evil and he's the Sith Lord, to yes, I'll go and kill all these little Padwans for you. Not a problem.
well,
Yeah, I mean, the other movie that I want to see is a Star Killer movie, but that's just me.
well, I
Yeah, how did they
see-
build that? That's what I want to know.
Well,
No,
Not
not
the
Star Killer. Like Vader's Apprentice.
Oh, okay.
That
Oh, from
the
from-
Force
from-
Awakens,
From
Force
yeah,
Awakens games.
from the games, yeah. But
I'm-
but yeah, I mean, it would have been a lot. Obviously, as I said, they've got to show you Anakin falling hard, but they could have had Dooku destroy the Jedi, Anakin destroy Dooku, then Anakin go to what's the name of the planet? The
Palpatine.
volcano planet? No, the
Mustafar.
volcano planet. What's it called again?
Oh,
They could have
yes.
sent they could have sent
Mustafar, yeah.
Anakin to Mustafar to then kill the separatists, and that would have been fine because they're separatists and they were causing a war. Anakin is still fallen because he's still gone out of his way to destroy things that he shouldn't destroy. But he wouldn't have. It would have been equally as interesting, I think.
with fair, I think like,
Yeah.
the current way of him falling is kind of okay if we watch the how do you say Clone Wars, because
Yeah.
yes, he kind
Clone
of
Wars, it does.
he slowly goes to the dark side. He even in combat uses dark side when fighting, and then it just goes exponential. But not the bad exponentially bad drop into the darkness, but in a good way. He
Yeah,
got
like
That is
Clone
Galen
Wars
Marek,
made
yes.
the Clone Wars made a lot of sense of his transformation to a dark user. Because it wasn't like in the movies where it was I am using the good force but using it for evil. The Clone Wars took it from a standpoint of I am learning the dark side of the force, because he was using force lightning at one point. He was using choke at one point. He was using what was the other one he was using? There was one more. He fought Ahsoka. He fought Ahsoka at one point and decided, "Hey, I'm gonna not fight fair," and force choked her before she could even draw her saber. So, like, there was a very defined transformation in what he did as a Jedi. Whereas, like, if you were to watch the entirety of the Clone Wars, you would see that his transformation was not, I'm jumping off the deep end, but rather, it's a slippery slope that I fell down because I took advice from Palpatine.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I understand that the expanded universe, Clone Wars, etc., all add more clarity to the story. But the fact of the matter is, unless you are absolutely die hard Star Wars fan, then the 9 movies are what you're going to take your base from. Okay, so with that
Yeah.
in mind, I remember when The Phantom Menace came out and the catchphrase was worst episode ever. In fact, it's used so many times in The Simpsons by comic book guy, it's laughable. But when I then
Yeah, it
reflect back, I actually don't think the prequels are as bad as they're made out. Okay, there's some horrible corny bits like, I hate sand, it
Yeah.
gets everywhere and it's coarse. I hate, there's some shit parts in it. Jar Jar Binks, I mean,
Then again-
fucking hell, come on. The
Jar
killing
Jar
of
Binks
Maul,
is comedy gold in those movies. I
Oh,
don't know what you're
unbelievable.
talking about.
Yeah, I mean, but the story, if you focus on the story, is basically the rise, the falling of Anakin and the Jedi, and I get that, and I can understand where they were going with it. What I don't now get is all the bullshit from the last 3. Because the
Yeah.
last 3 basically throws out the first 6 completely out the window. It says, well, forget what we showed you in the first 6. Forget this bullshit about Anakin being the chosen one. Forget this bullshit about Luke's struggle to save Anakin. Forget all of that because it doesn't matter. Because now we have Rey, the off-child of Palpatine, who's clearly stronger, better, and everything than everybody else. And everything else is meaningless. Luke did not save Anakin. Luke did not save the universe. Everything is irrelevant. Whatever you saw in those first 3 movies, it's just gone. Forget it. And just these last 3 movies, that's it. And there are more plot holes in the last 3 movies, but we're just going to say that's a question for another day. Like, what is Finn trying to say when he's being sucked into the sand? And then Rey says to him, what were you going to tell me? Oh. I mean, what was he going to tell her? Was he going to say, I love you, I want you, I demand you? What was he going to say? We don't know, and we never will, because the franchise is finished. What's the story of Luke's saber? We don't know, because Maz didn't tell us, because she had a labor court case going on in the second episode. I mean, it's just bollocks.
Yeah,
I just don't
I
understand it.
I mean, I understand Disney taking up the franchise because it's a very good franchise. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
If it's done well, it could make a hell of a lot of money. But I don't think that Disney really dropped the ball from what Lucasfilms put out. Like I don't think that there is a movie that Disney put out of Star Wars that actually comes anywhere close to any of the Lucasfilms.
No. I have to agree with
From-
hang on a minute.
from
I have to
either-
agree with that. It's not all JJ's fault. And as I said, if The Force Awakens is basically a rehash of A New Hope. Okay? It's just basically a rehash.
Yes, it is.
Rey is basically the Luke. Han Solo is Ben Kenobi. Starkiller Base is the Death Star, etc., etc., etc. It's a rehash. Okay? Snoke is the Emperor. Kylo Ren is the new Vader. It's a rehash for a new generation of people, and I understand that. It's when Rian Johnson gets involved that everything gets thrown out the window. Mr. Potato Head, you really fucked everything up, man.
Yeah, I mean, to
Beyond
be fair,
belief.
knowing the books, I already knew that Han Solo was going to die. I already knew that was coming. It was just a matter of how they were going to approach it. And in the book, Han Solo gets shot. So let's just put that out there. I'm pretty sure Han Solo gets shot. I might have to go read it again, but he was shot multiple times. Yada yada yada.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't really a huge moment around it, other than the fact that he's now dead.
Yeah.
But
But
in the
yeah.
movie, they made it this whole drawn out thing about Kylo Ren being like, I don't know what to do, yada yada yada. I'm so confused. Oh, I'm gonna stab you in my confusion. Like, it just didn't make any sense.
Well, it's like a lot of things don't make sense. It's like at the end of Return of the Jedi, okay? When Luke is cremating Vader's body, yeah? He looks over and then the holograms come up of Ben, Yoda, and Anakin. Why is Ben old and Anakin young? What? How does that
Yeah,
work?
I thought about that. I thought about that for I thought about that for a hot second when I saw that because wouldn't it be the other way around?
You would have thought so. Uh, you know, why is it an older Ben and a younger Anakin? And is it because it's because Anakin with this he's only come back in his projection as a Jedi. Well, didn't Luke save him at the end? Wouldn't he be projected then as what he was at the end when he came back and he was saved? I mean, makes I don't know.
Yeah, I like, to be fair, I like that the some of the movies tried to emulate in certain aspects the
hmm
Lucasfilms, but
hmm
they just couldn't do it. They like I couldn't exactly put my finger on it, but Lucasfilms, every movie that they put out, they put something into it that was
hmm
just not necessarily different story writing, because a lot of the movies had flaws in their story writing. Don't get me
Yes, they
wrong,
did.
but there was just something different about them than what Disney pulled out. I mean, it could be a culmination of lightsabers not sucking.
That
You
could be.
know, like a culmination of all these little details that Lucasfilms actually made correct. But I mean, wait, the ratings for all of those movies are what, PG-13, something like that?
What? Which ones? I mean, I
I'm
remember when Star Wars first came out, it was Universal.
the
It was
original
U. The original Star Wars was Universal, which was U. I think Empire Strikes Back was PG. I'm not sure. I'll have to check. Or was that a U?
I'm pretty sure. Okay, my point is, I'm pretty sure there isn't a single R-rated Star Wars movie from
No,
Lucasfilms.
there
I
isn't.
don't think
No, there
that
isn't.
exists. No, there's not.
No, there isn't.
So,
There's not.
like, I the thing is, I don't understand why Disney decided, oh, let's get away with lopping off limbs, pushing people down large crevices. The Sarlacc pit, because the Sarlacc pit, that was a show. Um, but like all of these like things that just made sense, because with lightsabers, by in theory, there would be no blood. There should be no blood because the lightsaber would literally cauterize the wound as soon as it appeared, because it's
Yeah.
literally hot light. So
Yeah.
theoretically,
Basically.
you wouldn't even have to worry about blood at all. So I don't
No.
understand why Disney's like, oh, we can't have people lopping off fingers and arms and legs and heads and
Well, no. Well, that's another thing that Fox says there. The lightsaber fights for the sequels was such a massive downgrade. Now,
they were.
I remember people saying a similar thing about the prequels, saying that you know the lightsaber fights in the prequels were so much more intensive than the original Star Wars. When in the original Star Wars, you have to remember that Ben Kenobi's an old man, Darth Vader's an old guy. To be fair, Yoda is over 800 years old, so they're always going to
Yeah.
be a little bit sort of less intense. Whereas we
Now
are
I
seeing the
will say,
Jedi and Darth Maul in their prime, so I understand why the lightsaber battles in the prequels are so intense. But in the
yeah.
final three, what the? I mean, what's the point of having a lightsaber? At one stage, not being funny, if you watch the
What
Rise of
if
Skywalker when they were going through the desert and they're being followed by the jump troopers, Rey's using a blaster. Yet we're told earlier that the Jedi's frown upon blasters, really. Yet she's using a blaster to shoot them. Why has she not got her lightsaber out to sort of ping them over? Ping, 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 and shit like that. But no, she doesn't. She doesn't use any force push on them. Yet she's able to jump over a TIE fighter and pull a ship to bits. Wow.
Yeah, I mean,
I call
that's the other
bullshit.
thing. That's the other thing. Like a lot of like I said, story, like the little details are what made Lucasfilm's movies better, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It was just all the little details of like stuff like, okay, this is what happened, and then the Disney movies were like, oh, who needs lightsabers when a shock trooper, a generic shock trooper, could say
Yeah.
no to your lightsaber, and like the fact that literally a basic foot soldier, or I should say a slightly above basic foot soldier, can invalidate your entire lightsaber.
Yeah,
To me, is stupid. Like
completely.
it invalidates a lot of what a Jedi is supposed to be.
Yeah, totally. Totally. It is. It's ridiculous. As you say, I mean, you know, the Snoke's guards are able to defeat it with their sticks. I mean,
Now,
what
to
the...
be fair, Snoke's guard are supposed to be like top of the line, equipped, like they're the creme de la creme of like the technology of the time
No, I get that,
and
but they're still not the
training and
Knights of
all that
Ren,
stuff. No, they're not.
which means they're not force trained. So,
Oh, but you
and
see,
we,
here's the thing: but the Order 66 could demonstrate that you don't have to be a Force user to kill a Jedi.
but
To
in
be
Order
fair,
66, it was not just one or two, was it? It was like overwhelming forces killing them.
I mean, but here's the thing: like Jango Fett killed a Jedi. Like Jango Fett murdered multiple Jedi during that time. So
This is true.
I mean, so like, a thing could be said that you don't have to be a top of the line trained Jedi Force user to go toe to toe with a Jedi.
No, but Qui-Gon says that in the first film when you know Anakin says, "Oh, you know, Jedi's can't be defeated," and he says, "Oh, I wish that were true." But we've got two Jedi here. One who's also on the dark side with lightsabers, fighting. How many of the guards are there? 6.
6, yeah.
But there are two Jedi's. So where's all the force pushing? Where's all the, you know, Kylo Ren is dark side trained as well, allegedly. So why is he not picking them up and squeezing
Force.
them like?
Yeah,
You
why
know,
is
like
he
Darth
not
Vader was
forcing?
doing
Why
it.
is he not? Why is he not doing the Shafru Da and just force lightninging everybody? Like, well,
yeah,
I mean, to be fair, force lightning is one of the higher up things that you learn. You don't learn that at the start, but depending on where his training is, I could understand him not using force lightning. But, yeah, it's just a lot of. It's just a lot of things that just didn't make sense.
yeah. I get you there, Fox.
Also,
The Praetorian Guard are just a gimmick for selling the toys. Like the useless red Sith Trooper things, they are. It's just a gimmick to get Hasbro to make some more toys.
Can we also take a moment and let's think about this for a second, right? So Ben Kenobi is by far not one of the strongest Jedi out there. He's fairly average for the people that were around during that time.
Well, he was meant to be the second best lightsaber.
He was
Mace
the
Windu was meant
lightsaber
to be the
duelist of
best.
the Jedi. Yeah, he was the
second
lightsaber
best.
duelist. Not necessarily. Yeah, he was the duelist as opposed to the Force user. But
Because I thought Mace
man-
Windu was meant to be the strongest
yeah,
force.
he was supposed to be the strongest Force wielder and the strongest duelist. Because
Yeah,
the Jedi was separated into 3 distinct classes, I should say. There are the Force users, which were there's a specific name for them, but I forget what that is. These people were more focused into the Force than with swordplay. They were not the best. They were not the best lightsaber duel, but they were so potent in the Force that they could overcome the duelist. Then you had the duelist. These people were weaker in the Force, but they had an incredible skill in dueling with lightsabers. They were very good and they were very good at what they did. Examples of characters like these would be Ahsoka. Ahsoka, Darth Maul would be an example if he was Jedi. These people were not the highest Force trained, but they were very good with lightsabers. Then you had the balanced, which these people were usually the ones assigned to the council because they could do both very well.
Yes.
Mace Windu was a balanced person. He was very good at both the Force and duelist. Ben was a duelist. He was a very good lightsaber person, but he could not necessarily grow in the Force to the same extent as Mace Windu, which is why he's considered the second best. Because Mace Windu not only could go toe to toe with Ben, but he could also outforce Ben, which is why they say he's a better duelist. But yada yada. But so for a guy who's not the best Force trained, could project his own physical form on another planet, light years away, at a location of his choice.
Yeah, but he was taught by Qui-Gon Jinn, wasn't he?
Yes, but Qui-Gon Jinn didn't even have the power to do that.
I was under the impression that Qui-Gon Jinn was, more philosophical in the Force than anything else. And therefore it was Qui-Gon who had discovered how to project yourself and speak and teach from the afterlife. And he was going in, and Yoda does say to Ben, I'm going to send you to Tatooine, where you're going to learn how to do this from Qui-Gon, who was more philosophical. Yeah. So I get that part about it. In that part, I understand.
But according to the books, now this is outside knowledge, but this doesn't apply necessarily to the movies. According to the books, he was only there for 15 years.
That's about right.
So in 15 years, so 15 years. Mind you, he went there when he was 7. So from age 7 to 22, which is right around the time that they fought Darth Maul. This would have been when he was about 25. He was learning from Qui-Gon Jinn.
Mm-hmm.
The only issue with that is that he was Force sensitive at the time, but he didn't get enough time in during that point to become that adept in the Force, which is why Ben became a duelist, similar to Skywalker. So, in his time which then begs the question, in his time in exile, one of 3 things happened. He took lessons directly from Qui-Gon during that time, from the afterlife, which very easily could have happened off screen. Or there's a big old plot hole of how he was able to do that, and then he just dissolves into the Force.
There's a huge plot hole anyway, because at the end of episode 3, Ben must be let's say he's in his 30s. Let's say.
He would be in his 30s when he went into exile, and at the time of A Force Awakens, he looks like he's in his late 60s.
Well, let's stick with Ben. Let's stick with Ben for the moment. So he must have been in his 30s. Okay.
Yeah.
Anakin's dead. Luke's just been born.
Yep.
Okay. Luke can only be about 17 when it comes around to A New Hope.
Yep.
Roughly 17.
Mm-hmm.
Ben does not age well.
Ben never ages well.
He does not age well at all.
The other thing with projection, right, is now this is a little detail from the books that nobody really understands why they never account for this. But if you're Force projecting, the projection is supposed to have every sense that the physical body of the user has. So in that scene where Ben is projecting in front of the entire army of the Empire and is getting shot to bits, Ben would feel every bit of the punishment that hit. Oh no, yeah, it's Luke, yeah, but he would feel every bit of the punishment that the Empire shoots at him.
Don't forget Luke's been in. Yeah, but don't forget, Luke's been in exile for about 30 years, and on that crappy island, and he's been reading all the Jedi books, which Yoda said he didn't need to read because he already knew it. So he's probably learnt how to do that during that period. That I get. I understand how he's probably got to do that, but the bit that got me was. Bear with me on this. Luke has spent all his life. Okay, now you could argue in The Empire Strikes Back, well, how long did his Jedi training last? And it's one of the big debates that's been happening a long time, because how long does it take them to get to Bespin? And is the timeline is totally undetermined on what happens in The Empire Strikes Back. for Luke's training. But let's say it takes a while. I mean, in the original films, we see it takes years, literally years. I mean, Fox is telling me that Obi-Wan was in his late 40s in episode 3. So if he's in his late 40s in episode 3, in episode 2, he's got to be also in his mid 30s to early 40s because of Anakin's growth. So it's taken Obi-Wan 30 years to get to that point. Okay, it took Luke a lot less time. It took Luke. In the first movie, he's shown a little bit of Force stuff, etc., etc. He's shown a little bit more in The Empire Strikes Back. He's shown fuck all in Return of the Jedi. He said to complete your training, just go and face Vader. So he's not shown anything in Return of the Jedi. So Luke's training is very, very short. Compared to Rey, that's the shortest training ever. Luke teaches her 3 things. That's it. And he doesn't even teach her 3, I don't think. He teaches her 2. But he says he's going to teach her 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yet she's able to then defeat him, like, almost immediately. She defeats Luke in that movie. So not only has Luke spent all his life doing all this shit, realistically, albeit his training was not that great from Yoda, etc., etc., but then he's been in exile for 15 odd years, you know, but he turned away from the Force, so okay, maybe. But she beats him after only two lessons. She beats him hands down.
Now there is a reason for that. The books make a lot of sense of that. So in the books, Qui-Gon Jinn has a conversation with Mace Windu about the Force. And Mace Windu, I'm probably butchering this quote, but bear with me. Essentially what he does is he compares everybody in the universe, every person, to a vessel, to a cup. And says everybody's cup size is different, but everyone has the ability to use the Force. Some of them can manifest it, some of them cannot. But depending on how large your cup is, you can only put so much training and so much emphasis into it before it overflows. Yeah. Some people, such as Anakin, have a larger cup than people like, say, Ben or, you know, Kylo Ren or all these other people. If your cup is only so big, you can only put so much effort into it until your effort becomes for naught.
But hang on a minute. It makes a good point there, Fox. When did Luke... Okay, Qui-Gon taught Ben how to Force Ghost. Because we're told that by Yoda.
Yep.
Yoda, I assume, knows how to do that or possibly understands it. And he reinforces it, and he goes away and sort of refines it probably in his exile on Dagobah. I don't know. But when does Anakin get taught this skill? Because nobody's taught Anakin. And when does Leia get taught this skill? If Luke immediately goes into exile, you know, what was it? Between the Return of the Jedi and Luke going into exile, he takes Leia to one side and says, oh, by the way, I'm going to show you how to Force Ghost. Here you go. Oof.
Yeah, see, I completely forgot that Leia could Force Ghost. I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, but she can fly through space. And not only that, she also defeats Luke with no training.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying.
We're shown that in the final
fluctuation
movie.
Is very...
Leia defeats Luke. And Luke is training her, yet she defeats Luke. Yet if we go back through the whole of Star Wars canon, no Jedi is defeated by their master, I don't think. Qui-Gon Jinn is defeated by Darth Maul. Anakin is defeated by Obi-Wan. He doesn't beat Obi-Wan. Okay, in Star Wars you could say, but Vader then kills Obi-Wan. No, Ben lets him kill him. He lets him. And then, so yeah, here, all of a sudden, Leia is able to overcome Luke. And then Rey is over to overcome Luke as well. So it's a massive change. A huge change. And we know in the Dark Side it happens. You know, obviously that's the whole idea of the Dark Side. The apprentice is meant to overthrow his master, but not on the Jedi side. So you know,
Yeah, I mean, the
what
Jedi.
is, so
the Jedi.
so is Luke gone to the dark side and he's teaching Leia and Rey how to be dark because they get to overthrow him pretty quickly, pretty easily, to be fair.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
And so does Kylo Ren.
Fluctuation.
In fact, Luke is a fucking awful master. Absolutely shit.
Yeah.
He's like the worst Jedi master ever. He trains Kylo Ren, who then overthrows him. He trains Leia, who then beats him, and he trains Rey, and she beats him. He is just shit.
Well, but I mean, think about it this way: the whole structure of the Jedi, to where the student never overthrows the master, then creates a power vacuum because the overall power of the Jedi go down because the masters themselves are never going to train their apprentices to their own level. So what that then causes is you get all of this overall downward power spiral, whereas the dark side has the opposite problem, where every master is overthrown by its predecessor, or not predecessor, the successor, I should say. Since it's all being overthrown, the power vacuum is in the other direction. You get an increase in power all the way up, which means, in theory, eventually, there's going to be a new generation of Sith.
Yeah, but that was the argument. That was the reason why Palpatine was able to take over, because the Jedi had got so complacent with their ways, and this is why Luke says they were destroyed because of their own hubris, which is correct. They are. And the reason why the Sith were able to rise is because the Jedi had become this complacent, where they weren't training correctly anymore. Hence the reason why Palpatine was able to overthrow them in the end.
Yep.
Because they, like I said, they weren't able to sense Palpatine, despite the fact that he was meeting Yoda regularly and Mace Windu regularly and the Jedi Council. He was close to them. I mean, they're all on bloody Coruscant together. And it's they weren't able to notice that. Like they weren't able to notice that Count Dooku just said, well, goodbye, I'm going to be a Sith now. And they're like, oh, no, he's not a Sith, he's a good lad. And they didn't realise that the clone army had been, engaged. They saw none of this, because they'd become so complacent.
Now, here's the scary thought, right? So, in theory, you don't have to be Force sensitive in order to learn the Force. Though it would take an exponentially longer amount of time for you to learn it, theoretically anyone could. Because of the fact of Leia learning Force Ghost and all that stuff. Because Leia wasn't necessarily sensitive to anybody's knowledge. That's not saying that she wasn't, but just nobody knew if she was. Yeah. That means that theoretically, you could teach the entire clone army. Theoretically, you could teach them the dark side of the Force.
Yeah. But hang on a minute.
If you really wanted to.
Spicy, you say that Luke is surprised knowing that Vader was his father. Yeah, no, that's understandable. Because nobody calls him Anakin. In fact, it's a point of reference made in The Return of the Jedi when Ben Kenobi says, well, what I told you was correct from a certain point of view. Because he only ever calls him Vader. He says his father was betrayed and then destroyed by another called Vader. So I understand why Luke's surprised. What I don't get is this. At the end of Revenge of the Sith, we see Vader now, previously Anakin, shouting, no! Because he can't save Padme. So he's conscious of the fact of somebody called Padme. We understand that, yeah? Yet he captures Leia in A New Hope, and Vader doesn't realise that's his offspring, doesn't sense it, yet he's Force sensitive, but he doesn't sense that. And Luke Skywalker is not sort of living incognito on Tatooine, he's called Luke fucking Skywalker. And unless Anakin has suddenly forgotten his name was Anakin Skywalker, you would have thought he would have looked that up. Oh, hang on a minute, there's a guy walking around with my surname. could that be one of my children? Because we know he knew Padme was pregnant. So again, it's big plot holes, huge plot holes, which
Now,
again
that
says that
also begs the
Anakin couldn't be
question-
that massive.
Yeah, that also begs the question: if Padme died before her child was born, which I doubt, he would have had a third child. But no one ever talks about that. Like, no one ever talks about the fact that there might have been another child in the mix.
Yeah, but that always makes me laugh though. When in the Return of the Jedi, Luke says to Leia, "Do you remember your mother?" And she says, "Yes, she was sad but beautiful." Fuck me. I mean, she lived for like 10 seconds after you were born. No wonder she was sad. And you really remember that? Seriously?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure, like, I actually looked at, there was a funny post I saw about that a couple of months ago. But essentially what they did was, okay, if Padme is now dead, right, the daughter somehow remembers her mother, and she's, what, 20-something during that time when she was asked that question?
No, she was
why
in her
the hell?
30s.
Oh yeah, she's old as hell, isn't she?
Yeah, it's Return of the Jedi she's asked.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's right, she is old, isn't she?
Uh,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's just...
when Luke says, "Do you
sorry.
remember your real father, your real mother?" She says, "Yeah, I do." She was sad but beautiful. She's fucking dying, mate. I'm telling you.
She is dead, my god, my gal. She
You know.
is leaving the fucking earth. Yeah, like
No wonder she looks
it's a lot
sad.
of. I don't even think she would have been conscious during that time.
No. But again, Luke's force sensitivities can't be that great if he can't sense that Leia is his sister. And Vader can't sense that Leia is his daughter. And Luke happens to, bumble around on Tatooine called Luke Skywalker. And don't forget, Anakin had already met the Larses. He'd already met Beru and Owen
Yep.
in episode 2. So a guy walking around called Luke Skywalker, living with a couple called Owen and Beru Lars, that's hang on a minute. I remember them. Why is this guy called Skywalker? Because it's not Owen Skywalker, it's Owen Lars. Unbelievable.
Yeah, and it's just a lot of plot holes that make it kind of sometimes funny.
Unbelievable, really. It's just, when you start digging back into it, and a lot of this can probably be explained in the books and stuff, but a lot of it can't.
Yeah.
To be fair, and
Well,
this book or that comic or this spin-off may answer a particular question, but you can't answer the question of, Vader is interrogating Leia full on in Star Wars, and he doesn't realize it's his daughter.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, how shit is the dark side?
Well, I mean, to be fair, right? So let's also not put in this perspective that Vader's suit is clouding his own mind.
MSK1.
To be fair,
How's Spain, mate? No.
like Vader's suit, by what it is built for, is to cause him so much physical pain and discomfort that he can't necessarily think straight.
No, but you say that, but then let's go to The Empire Strikes Back. We go to The Empire Strikes Back, and Luke's had his hand lopped off. He's on the Millennium Falcon, nursing his hand in sickbay, and then all of a sudden we hear from Vader's Star Destroyer, Luke, and he goes, "Father, son." So there's a connection between the two of them, yeah? There's a connection. Yeah, when they're going to Endor, Vader's like, I think I can feel something tingling. He had a bigger tingling sensation when Ben Kenobi set foot on the Death Star. I mean, he went to Grand Moff Tarkin and says, "Ben Kenobi's here." yeah, he doesn't have the same feelings for his own child. Really? Come on.
Now,
he was
be
able
fair,
to force
there could
connect
be...
with him in Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah. Yep.
It's unbelievable. Okay, I get that you have to do it because it's in the script and the plot needs it to happen. But be consistent at least.
Yeah, I mean, and that's kind of the big issue with Star Wars is that there is no consistency anywhere in the franchise.
No, there isn't, and that's the issue. It's you know it's episode. There are big gaps between episode and episode, and I understand that. But sometimes the gaps in those episodes are the ones that we would like to see. For example, as I said, I mean, Rogue One is a perfect example. I mean, that is a great filler, and there should be other fillers like that. So now
Yes,
we
there
know.
should.
Now we know. Now we have the link between the Revenge of the Sith to Star Wars. We have that link. How those Death Star plans got into R2D2. Although I'm still confused, to be honest with you, because when they fly off,
Well, okay, to
when they fly off in Rogue One, the Rebel fleet, to go to the planet to get the Death Star plans, R2D2 and C-3PO are still sat on the moon of Yavin.
well,
They're
yeah,
they're stood
but
there waving.
that's the thing. If
So how did they get?
if
How did
they're
they get
going
onto the?
if they're going to
How did they get onto the Tantive 5? How did they get on there? Because they do not leave with that fleet to get onto the Tantive.
the little thing called cough cough nudge nudge plot armor, cough cough nudge nudge.
Oh yeah, the plot needed the script to happen. But seriously, I mean, rewatch that. When the Rebel fleet takes off to go and get the plans, they leave R2D2 and C-3PO behind on Yavin. And
Yep.
yet we see them transferring the plans to one of the big ships. That gets attacked, and then Tantive 4, sorry, is a smaller ship that pops out the bottom, and it's like an escape ship. So R2D2 and C-3PO magic their way to Yavin, from Yavin to there. How? Don't understand. Don't know. Don't care. Plot doesn't tell us. Simple. And then we get Return of the Jedi. We understand about all these Botham spies dying for the plans, yeah? Yet we then learn in the Emperor's throne room that actually it was all done by the Emperor. It was all done to his design. So what would have happened if the Botham spies didn't die? What if they would have killed too many of them? The Emperor's plan would have been fucked.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. Star Wars is very much a mythical place, and I love it, and I will always love it. But there's
I
a
think
lot of just stark problems with it.
Well, I think it'll be. I think I'm pretty much in the same opinion as Yusuf was earlier, and some of the others, which is I will watch. I will continue to enjoy the original trilogy, but I will just completely ignore the final three. It was just a bad dream.
Yep.
And that is it.
Yep.
Anyway,
I
we'll
agree
leave
with
it
that.
there. We'll leave it there. It was different. And it was different. We had a different chat. Not Blitz related. Something interestingly different. And there's lots of these chats going down all over the place. But I thought, might as well have a bit of a chat about it and see what happens. But yeah, I enjoyed that chat, guys. We'll do some more like this, maybe. Something different. Although I did have like 100 people say they were interested, and only like 10 people turned up.
Bro, dude,
Welcome to
I
YouTube,
literally
man.
woke up. I woke up about 10 minutes after the stream started, so this is a great way to spend my morning.
Welcome to YouTube, all the way. Yeah, this is why I'm doing other things, because YouTube. Being a YouTube person is just meh. Sometimes it's just soul destroying.
Oh, and
But,
yeah, just to think I wanted to possibly go and do that one day.
it can be soul destroying, to be honest with you. I mean, like I said in the video I did earlier, I never really had the balls to do such a video before, or the inclination. But on the grounds that my YouTube channel is going backwards and not forwards, I mean, I've lost 5% of my subscriber base in less than a month. I thought, well, got fuck all to lose, why not? And I do it. I do it for a bit of fun and entertainment and as a hobby, not to earn money from it. And if I was doing it to earn money, then I'd probably be more of an arsehole. I'd probably be doing drama and shit like that, which I don't intend to do.
Probably be more like. You'd probably be more like Pantooth.
Well,
Pen.
maybe.
Not saying he's a bad guy. Not saying he's a bad guy.
No, he's not. But
Yeah, I love the guy. I love the guy to death.
Yeah, but I don't want to go down certain roads. Like I said, I don't want to be.
Yeah.
I don't
That's
want to be
very
a
much
fucking
understandable.
angry person, or whatever. And I don't want to be doing streams like we see from certain other YouTubers who do blitz, who scream and shout at everybody. And I don't want to do half the bullshit that we see.
That's very much understandable.
Yeah,
Dude,
I mean,
I would hate to be to do that and just be mad all the time.
yeah, I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. And there are, and I was saying, I did a stream earlier, and it was we did mad games for Pete's sake, and people just calling, oh, you're a bunch of fucking retards, you're idiots, you're morons, you're this, you're that, and I sit there thinking, guys, there's something seriously wrong with you. I mean, seriously, you really need to go and see a doctor if before the game even starts. You're in the countdown, you're calling everybody retards. There is something literally wrong with you. That you're not firing on all four cylinders. So you need to go and get...
If you even have all four cylinders.
You need to get serious medical attention if this is how you approach a meaningless pixelated game, to be honest with you. And it's the same with a lot of that. But I see it a lot, and I did a video recently about the way things are at the moment, and I see it with my own son. He plays Fortnite, and when he doesn't play Fortnite, he's a pretty laid back, chilled out kind of guy. But yet he plays Fortnite, and he goes off the fucking rails. He literally loses the plot. He screams, he shouts, he gets all excited. He loses the plot, and I can just imagine that most of the people who are doing this are sort of in that same realm. But then my wife says to me, no, look at the shit he watches on YouTube. And he watches YouTubers who are like some of our Blitz YouTubers, who are pretty much... He copies that. And he copies their way of doing it. And it's a sad way to look at the world, that a pixelated game that is meant to be for fun and enjoyment is turning people into, well, class A morons. To be honest with you. I mean, I've never felt compelled in the countdown of a battle to say, you're all a bunch of fucking retards. I mean, who's compelled to do that?
To be fair, me neither, but if people are playing stupid, I will say you are playing stupid.
Yeah, no, that's different. No, that's different. But you could turn around and say it's like it's different. If you're saying, if somebody's YOLOing and they say, it's perfectly reasonable to say, yeah, you're YOLOing, and it's perfectly reasonable to say you're being stupid or you're playing like a fool. That I haven't got an issue with. But to turn around, I mean, one guy earlier in Mad Games, said, "Die, you fucking bot." I was like, what? This is Mad Games. What is your issue?
Why you got to be mad? It's only a game.
Unbelievable. I mean, there is something seriously broken in you. If even in a game that is meant to give you fun and enjoyment, you are not having fun and you're not enjoying it, there is a serious problem. Absolutely serious problem. Hang on a minute.
Yeah, there is.
There's talk there about Star Trek. It's been years since I watched Star Trek, and recently I've just gone back to watching the old original series. Okay, so the original Star Trek. I'm halfway through season 2.
I'm watching Discoveries yesterday.
Right, Discovery. I want to do a chat on that one at one stage, because up until I think it was probably episode, I don't know, almost the penultimate episode, I was really liking Star Trek Discovery, and then all of a sudden
Yeah,
they went to a
it
parallel
went really
universe,
downhill
and
really fast.
they went to a parallel universe, and the captain, played by what's his name? I can't remember his name now. The British actor suddenly becomes an arsehole.
Yep.
And the arsehole in the parallel universe, who's a woman, suddenly becomes an amazing person, despite the fact she's obviously murdered billions of people. I mean, what the fuck? But that's a story for a different day.
Yeah, dude.
But I was
honestly,
enjoying Discovery until they went to that parallel universe.
Me too. The only reason
then I
I'm
lost all
watching
interest.
Discovery is because there's really nothing else good to watch right now, unless I really want to watch Peaky Blinders for the 4th time.
So I've got all the original Star Trek and Deep Space Nine and Generations to watch, and I've just watched all the original movies again, and I've just watched season 1 of Picard. I haven't watched season 2 yet.
Picard is
Discovery really
kind
pissed
of
me
eh.
off. Well, I thought Picard
Picard
was
too, but-
interesting. I thought it was interesting, but it should have been called Picard. It should have been called whatever that woman was, the android.
Yeah, like
The
to be fair,
synthetic.
to be
It should have been
fair,
called her.
Picard as a Picard as a concept is very interesting. Like the story that it's trying to tell is very much interesting and a new take and very cool. The only issue was I don't think it's executed very well.
I don't know. I think some of the story. I think some of the what's going on in Picard. I must admit, I did like season 1 of Picard. I must admit.
Yeah, season 1 was pretty good.
I think it is and it isn't. I liked some of it, but I don't like that Picard's been taken to this point where he's clearly thought of as an arrogant arsehole and nobody really likes him. Because that comes across a lot. It comes across a lot. I mean, they all generally say to him, "Oh, you're Picard. You're still as arrogant as you used to be." So, that's disappointing. It's clearly not about Picard because he's clearly inept, and it's all about everybody else helping Picard. So, okay. And but the storyline's not overly bad. It's just marketed wrong. Whereas Discovery is just bullshit. It wasn't. It started off really well, and I was really getting into it. And then they went to a parallel universe, and that pissed me off completely, because then it became totally woke. Totally woke. And in fact, I'm subscribed to one guy called The Critical Drinker who reviews films and shit, and I agree with him. She suddenly became diverse super female space Jesus because she can do nothing wrong and she's just amazing.
Sounds about right.
And what got me was all of a sudden the captain is a complete arsehole who deserves to die and should be murdered and executed and expunged from the planet, despite the fact that he's obviously a good chap because he's been protecting them in the other universe. Yet the Emperor, whatever she is, the really nasty person who's killing everybody and murdering everybody, deserves to be saved because, well, she's a woman, basically. And she's a diverse woman. So she's a strong, diverse female. So we have to save her. At the expense of the white male, who's obviously a bastard and should die. It pissed me off.
Yep.
And I thought, well, I'm not, this has annoyed me now because this is political. But saying that, I've just seen, if you ever get the chance, there's a trailer on YouTube for a film called Karen. Fucking watch that. I mean, that's just absolute craziness.
Oh, wait, you've seen that?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, God,
dude.
yeah.
Dude,
Oh,
it's
fuck, yeah.
so oh gosh.
I mean,
What
yeah.
what
okay.
has this world come to?
Absolutely. I mean, where is the world going? It's going in a direction that is just completely nonsensical, to be honest with you. And
Yeah, it is.
I see. To be fair, I see Blitz pretty much in the same vein. Blitz reflects real life. albeit in a modular,
It does.
contained way. Insofar as, and I go back to these guys calling everybody a retard at the beginning of the battle. People get offended just for the sake of being offended now, and it's outrageous, absolutely outrageous that you can be offended just for being offended, and you're taking offence on behalf of others as well, and agendas are being pushed left, right, and centre, which I don't agree with, never have done. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. It worries me. For I've got a 10-year-old who's going to be 11 in about 2 weeks. What's he going to turn out like? Is he going to be pushed into a position that is just going to be fed bullshit propaganda? And the irony is this. I mean, my wife grew up under communist Soviet Union. Okay, so she's fully aware of this shit. And she's like, no, it's never going to happen. And what is ironic is, especially in your country, I hate to say this, for much of the 20th century and the 21st century, your particular country is absolutely hated everything there is to hate about communism. And now you're more communist than the communists.
Well, I mean, to be fair, communism was not necessarily the way. How should I say this without sounding like a complete asshole? But communism at its core was not what America liked to see, because America at the time was like, oh, the rich got their money, yada yada yada. We don't want to spread that out, so we're just like, oh, we're just gonna fight communism at every turn, which then in turn caused us to fight a lot of things all over the board.
But it's crazy.
Whether you like it or not, America is a country that likes to fight a lot of things.
Of course. But it's just ironic. And we're seeing that coming into our entertainment now. And this film...
Yes, it is.
This film, Karen, is a prime example. But we're also seeing it in other forms of entertainment whereby we are promoting these strong female characters into Mary Sues, which, Ripley was a strong female character, okay? And she was brilliant. And Aliens were two great movies. She didn't need special powers or anything to be a strong female character. So why have we suddenly... And she didn't, she wasn't oppressed by men. So why do we have to go down this road now that all men in movies are completely inept and all women are completely strong and amazing in Mary Sue? I don't get it. And this is the thing, it's pushing bullshit that doesn't need to be pushed. And it actually sucks the fun out of shit. It's the same with Blitz. It's the game itself hasn't really changed. You can say it has, with more players coming in and blah blah blah. I get all that. But it's the attitude of the players that has changed. Not the game. The attitude of the players change. And you hear of things being bounded around in the news about white privilege or this privilege or entitlement. Well, I'm sorry, go into the game of Blitz and you see new players feeling that they've privileged and got entitlement to just fuck you off, stick your two fingers up and jump into a tier 10 with only 20 battles. It works both ways. It does work both ways. And the more you say to people this crap, the more it becomes, I'm gonna start getting offended at everything. I'm now offended because you've got a 40% win rate. I'm offended because you're playing better than me. I'm offended because you're shooting your tank better than me, so I'm going to call you a bot. I'm offended because you didn't carry me, so you're all a bunch of retards. What happens? Where does it go? It's bizarre where it's going. And this is the bullshit I see in the last 3 Star Wars movies. It's the same bullshit. Where you don't need to work at anything anymore. It's just going to be given to you. Luke Skywalker had to work to be a Jedi. He had to develop from an impetuous teenager all the way through to the man that he became. Rey didn't have to work at anything. She just had to sit there, and basically it was all given to her on a plate because she's a Mary Sue. Simple. And it's bollocks. And it's the same with Star Trek Discovery. You know, we start the movie with a mutiny, and we end the movie with her being hailed as a god almost. When the fuck did that happen? You know, when did it transpire that? Let me put it to a different way. You've disappeared with our best ship for a few months or whatever it is. You turn back up and you say, "Hello, where's the captain?" And you, the criminal who's been sentenced to a life in prison because you were a mutineer and the very first mutineer, you turn around and say, "Oh, yeah, he was this really bad guy from a parallel universe, so we killed him." And you, the Order of Starfleet, say, "Oh, that's all right then, not a problem." What the fuck? Who are you going to believe? You say, "Hang on a minute. Aren't you the mutineer, the first we've ever had, ever in Starfleet? Aren't you a criminal? And, hang on a minute. You killed the captain? And now you want to give me some bullshit of a parallel universe? What? Fuck off." It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. That's what it is now. Unfortunately, the Fox, yeah. I don't dislike them. I think they're just very badly written characters. I think Rey could have been a much better character if we would have seen her developed. And she should have been... She should have been sort of... She shouldn't have been so strong from the off. She should have been made to suffer in the first movie, like Luke was made to suffer, with the fact that, you know, he needed a guiding hand in the form of Ben Kenobi to destroy the Death Star. He had to lose somebody, you know, he didn't have the Force straight away. She has the Force straight away. She picks up a lightsaber and basically takes on Kylo Ren. So that's bullshit, and I'm calling bullshit on that. In the second movie, she has no training, yet she's able to defeat her master, Luke, the best Jedi, allegedly, that we've seen. I'm calling bullshit on that. And in the third movie, she ends up healing people left, right, and centre, pulling ships down from the sky, which even Anakin Skywalker couldn't do, and he was the one. And basically, all that sort of crap. So I'm calling bullshit on that too. That's why I dislike Rey. Rose was just thrown in there for Jar Jar Binks without Jar Jar Binks. And as for Holdo, what the fuck? I mean, Holdo wouldn't be a hated character if she would have just taken one of her senior troops to one side and said, "Look, this is the plan." If she would have told the plan to Poe at the beginning, then Poe wouldn't need to mutineer because he'd know the plan. So, but why doesn't she say anything? Why? Why is she keeping it secret? I don't understand why she's keeping it a secret from Poe. What, she thinks that Poe's a spy? This is the guy who wants to destroy the bloody First Order left, right and centre. So why is she keeping her plan from him? That's what I don't like. It's got nothing to do with sexism, racism or anything. It's to do with shitty writing.
Bad playwright.
Yeah, awful writing. No character development whatsoever. And just, fuck it. The script needs it to happen, so it'll happen. We don't need to develop these characters. We don't need to do anything with them. Fuck it. Rey is just a Jedi, full stop. Fuck it. Holdo is just, you know, in charge, and everybody knows that because she's amazing and we don't need to develop her in any way, shape or form. And as for Rose, she's clearly much better than Finn because Finn ends up being her bitch for the rest of the movie. Simple. And I get, you know, maybe that's right, but it's bullshit. Absolute bullshit.
Well, in that case, I gotta go get ready for work. So,
yeah.
Y'all have fun.
No worries, mate. So, anyway. Yep, we're going to leave it there. Not many people watching, but it was a different type of stream. So, I wasn't anticipating lots of people watching, to be fair. White people are at threat of being oppressed or even being that way by media and such. No. Not really. Yeah, you're right. Enough about that. But all I would say is, as an Englishman, it doesn't matter where you're from, what colour your skin is, what religion you are, or anything. It's, you know, I generally like people for who they are, not what they are. If you're an arsehole, doesn't matter what colour you are, what religion you are, or anything, I'm not going to like you. If you're a nice person, you could come from the outer rim of Saturn, and I'd still like you. Doesn't really matter. And I don't understand why we just can't all get on. And I understand politics, don't get me wrong, I do. And a lot of politics and a lot of history in this world is what it is. It's politics and history. But we can't keep looking backwards and demonizing everything. We have to look forwards and build, not demonize. And all we're doing at the moment is everybody's being demonized, left, right and centre. And I don't think that's right. Anyway, enough of that as well. I don't do politics. Bores me. Because everybody has a different opinion. Everybody's hateful for everybody. People jump on bandwagons, Mako. And one of the problems with the media, I find, is that when you've got umpteen media channels churning out 24/7 news for views, it's like YouTube. Okay, media is like YouTube. If you earn money from YouTube, then you need views. You need viewers and you need shit like that. And there's only so many viewers you're going to get if you do certain content. So how do you get those viewers? In the way to get those viewers now is to be, you know, fly even further to closer to that edge. And the closer to the edge you go, the more people want to hear you, because it's new and it's interesting and it's breaking and it's controversial. It's the same with news. News nowadays, how does one news channel get viewers above another news channel? So you have to break news quicker. And sometimes you'll manipulate and you will not tell the truth. But it doesn't matter, because you'll get the viewers. And it's the same with YouTube. Sometimes you'll see videos being put out there, even on blitz content, that is not true. It's not right, it's not correct. But it's designed to entice you. It's a clickbait to draw you in. And, you know, I've seen numerous videos where, even on blitz content, where it's completely 100% inaccurate. And yet people have, you know, people are writing in the comments, oh, it's so refreshing that you're so honest and so open and so this and so that. And actually they're not being honest and open in this and that. They're actually talking a lot of bollocks. Yet people don't realise that, because they don't know. Okay, it's that straightforward, and this is what media is now. And media is the same way. It's easier to get 10 people to come to you because you're saying so and so's an arsehole, rather than saying, oh, by the way, over there was an earthquake. People aren't interested in earthquakes. It doesn't affect them. It's not interesting, you know. And this has been building over time with reality TV, like, you know, like Big Brother and the Kardashians. I mean, shit, man. Big Brother. I mean, what a fucking useless waste of time that was. Well, that's the same, Fox. It doesn't matter. And as I said in my recent video about the top 5 war movies, when it comes to things like entertainment, it's incredibly subjective. In what I like in a movie is going to be different to what you like in a movie. And the movies I like will differ to the movies you like, and vice versa. That doesn't mean that you're right and I'm wrong. Doesn't mean that at all. It just means that we have differing views and we have a different personality, and that's perfectly acceptable. And until we get to the point where we can accept people for having differing views and different personalities, that's the aim, isn't it? You know, I mean, my wife likes chick flicks, and, you know, she doesn't like violence and all that sort of shit. I don't think her selection's wrong. But on the same token, she doesn't like the stuff I like. It doesn't mean my selection is wrong, or I'm, you know, or we're not compatible. I respect her, she respects me. I respect what she's doing, they respect me. And this is the thing. And that's what you have to do. You have to respect people. And it's the same with the game. You know, respect people in the game. Don't call them a fucking retard from day one. That game, you know, one of those games tonight is bollocks. Not even starting the battle and he's calling everybody fucking retards. I mean, what is your problem? And this is no respect. No respect. And that's the point. You've got to get over that bullshit. You've just got to go out there and say, fuck it, it's a game. I'm going to enjoy it. And if I don't enjoy it, I'll turn it off and I'll get another game, or I'll do something else, or I'll do this, or do that. But to take it so offensively is unbelievable. Oh, understanding the causes of earthquakes. Well, that, I must admit, is incredibly, incredibly interesting. There's a lot of things that are incredibly interesting, to be fair. Like volcano. I love volcano. I love all that sort of shit. We used to have a program in the we still have a program in the UK called Horizon. You know, I watch that religiously. It's brilliant, awesome program. But anyway, yeah. Oh, absolutely love that as well. Oh, Happy is here. Hello, Happy. Mako, David Attenborough is, you know, I watch all his stuff. He's brilliant, man. And this is the thing. I mean, it's there's so much non-bullshit out there. It surprises me. It's like my child, okay? Like I said, he'll watch YouTube for 2 hours and he'll watch crap for 2 hours. And yet, he could quite easily I'd sit there and watch something relatively educational and entertaining, like how do earthquakes happen or how do volcanoes work, and he'd be better for it. But that's not the way it works nowadays. It's you know, I want to watch somebody shouting at somebody or whatever. Bizarre. Totally bizarre. But that's the world, man. That is the world that we live in, unfortunately, and it's moving in a strange direction. It's like I was reading the other day that they're going to remake Highlander. I mean, what the? Why? Fuck off. Highlander was a great movie to begin with. You don't need to remake it. And it's like they remade Point Break. The original Point Break was fantastic. The remake is shit. Rollerball. The original Rollerball is great. The new Rollerball, shit. But it's like all of them, you know. It's just bullshit, man. Just leave things sometimes. And if you're going to remake it, fine, remake it, but remake it like it was the last time. And you're not going to remake it, because that's the problem. You know, the reason why the new Rollerball, or the updated Rollerball compared to the original Rollerball is shit, is because the original Rollerball had actors and characters that made the movie. And it's the same with a lot of these films. There's a lot of these films are like that. You know, the films are not just made because of the story. You could have the best story in the world and stick some shitty actor in there or somebody who can't act, and it becomes a shit story because you're not endowed with the person who's acting. Whereas you have a shit story and stick a good actor in there, and maybe you'd like the film. Although I must admit, I mean, Commando, is it? I mean, Commando is a prime example. It's a shit film. Absolutely shit film. It's a shit story. There you go. But because it's got Arnie in there in his prime, it's actually quite good. People will watch it because of Arnie. But it's a shit film. I mean, if you ever break down the plot and actually look at Commando for what it is one of the worst films ever. I'm not joking. It is shockingly bad. Okay? But Arnie's in it, so it's okay. It's a good movie. That's the point. That's the point. It's like there's lots of films like that where they're truly shockingly bad. Truly shockingly bad. But anyway, that's stuff for another day. What was it? What was the? Oh, I can't remember what it was now. Anyway, I'm gonna leave it there. We've been on for 3 hours, and hey, Blue Pig Gaming, hello. How's it going? So yeah, we've been on for 3 hours, and like I said, didn't expect many people to be on the stream, and we didn't get many. But hey, you know, we got more. I got more than 5, and that's always a win for me. I don't care. You know, just don't care. well, people shouldn't pick on anybody for not liking a particular movie. Crikey. I mean, really? No, that's crazy. People could turn around and say, I mean, it's like, I'm going to do, well, it's not going to be tomorrow. It's probably going to be in a few days' time, maybe even a week. I'm going to do part 2 of this top 5 war movies. And I'm going to deal with some movies that I think truly, utterly, completely suck. And some people are going to not like that. But it's because I think they suck. It's not because, I'm going to persuade you that they suck for this reason. I just think they suck. What's this? Oh, unbelievable. So yeah, I mean, I will do that. And no doubt there may be films on that list that I think truly suck that some people like. It's as simple as that. I'll give you a clue. I mean, one of them is going to be The Battle of the Bulge. There are parts of that movie that I like, but as a film overall, it's shit. It's absolutely shockingly awful. Because the accuracy is like zilch. There's no accuracy in that movie at all. And the story is not even close to what the real events were like. So yeah, that's going to be one of the movies that I say sucks balls massively. And I don't like it for that. But you can sit down and watch it and it can be entertaining. Doesn't make it, any less enjoyable. The only war movie I've ever watched that seriously makes me feel physically sick is Pearl Harbor. Because that film is just truly shocking. And that's not the story. It is the story. It's called Pearl Harbor. I mean, I think the attack on Pearl Harbor lasts 10 minutes. The rest of the movie is about Josh Hartnett and Ben Affleck trying to fuck the same girl, and she's torn. So, yeah. And when I said in my video earlier that I don't like subliminal messaging or propaganda, when Ben Affleck is almost single-handedly destroying the Luftwaffe before America even enters the war, that's interesting. I mean, that's called subliminal propaganda. Oh, mate, if you want to watch a really bad war movie, go and download Inchon. Seriously. Fucking terrible film, that. That is a terrible film. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's shocking. There's some absolutely shocking films out there, man. But anyway, let's leave it at that, because everybody's going now. There's not many people around. And we'll catch up again shortly, i.e. tomorrow, where I'll be back to my normal knobbing out, playing Blitz. Pearl Harbor. Oh God, it's yeah, Pearl Harbor. Pearl Harbor. But you've got to watch the one done by Michael Bay. It's fucking dreadful, absolutely dreadful. Oh dearie me. If you want to watch a war movie, again, it's subliminal propaganda. But if you want to watch a war movie about Pearl Harbor, that's a little bit closer to the truth. Then watch Tora, Tora, Tora. But again, that is, that again is a slightly propaganda-ish movie, favouring one side over the other, which is understandable. I mean, that's the way films work in certain instances. So you have to be mindful of that. But Pearl Harbor is shocking. Yeah, there's some good documentaries out there. I mean, if you want to see some good documentaries, I mean, the best documentary I've seen recently, it's not recent though, but the best documentary I've seen on war is one done by Milwaukee 17, I think it's called. The Vietnam War. If you ever get the chance, watch that. It's absolutely amazing. Absolutely awesome. And actually, I might do a video on that, because it really is a spectacular spectacular documentary. It's no hold bars. Seriously, it packs no punches. It really, really, really hits it home, and it shows both sides equally. Doesn't favour one over the other, and it really does tell the story from the very beginning all the way to the very end, and it is an amazing documentary series. So, if you ever get the chance, guys, I think it's Milwaukee 7 actually. Milwaukee 7 documentary called The Vietnam War. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant documentary. Comes in like, I can't remember how many parts it comes in. 14, 15, something like that. I can't remember now. But quite a few. It comes in quite a few parts. And it's awesome. Truly, truly awesome. Hey Moocow. Just about to finish actually. So anyway, actually I will do a video on that because yeah, it's a good documentary. It really is. Right, and with that I'm gonna go because it's spicy. It's 2 a.m. Go to bed. It's 2 a.m. for me as well. You're only down the road, mate. Here in Dubai. Right, with that I'm gonna go. And guys, thank you anyway for popping in. And hopefully catch you all again soon on stream or in one of my in videos. So until then, enjoy the rest of whatever day you happen to be in. It's now Sunday for me. No doubt. It's still Saturday for most of you. So go and enjoy your Saturday. And I'll catch you all again soon. Until then, guys. Cheerio!